the highlights while we will take a short break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Asia Showdown Season 3. We're getting into our second match right here for the last chance. And of course, what we've seen already is that these teams are coming in to prove a point. Of course, we also know that they want to get their butts back into the top 9, right? They want to make it into the grand finals to win their share of that amazing prize pool that we have. But yes, the first mirror mark done and dusted. Of course, we are getting ready to move into our first Erangel for the day here. And Torix, what do you think we are going to be looking at here? Is it going to be another fast-paced match, or is it going to be slowing down a little bit?
I mean, with the first match being that much aggressive, every single team was going for a third party or kind of into the straight up 1v1 scenarios against the teams. I mean, with this, we can just assume that yes, it will be a destructive one and everyone is going to go for that aggressive stances as well. But it all depends upon the mentality. They played one good game, one aggressive game, one maybe they're going to play with a strategy to see how well the lobby is devising with the complete momentum change of the maps. Miramar, yes, we can assume because of the fact that it's such a huge map, there's a lot of possibilities for those aggressive stances as well. But Miramar, it's contested. There's always going to be someone close to you, close to the proximity of you. And you know that in the back of your head, that if you take a fight, there's always a chance that there's not just one team from the backside, a third party, but two different teams that can actually do a third or fourth party on you, depending on the situation at what at stake at this point is on this platform. For the last chance, you only have 5 more matches to play. So with that, I assume it's going to be a very slow kind of paced map, slow kind of paced game, but it all depends on the teams at the very end of the day.
Well, I'm going to hope for the opposite of that, right? I want to see some quick plays. I want to see some hot drops coming in, some pretty crazy action right out of the gate here. And of course, we'll be making our way into that match momentarily to see exactly what these teams are going to have to deal with once they make their way through there. But yeah, I appreciate what the teams have been doing so far. I mean, we've been seeing some new contenders rise up to claim those winner chicken dinners. We might have seen 1 or 2 come through from Boom throughout that qualifying stage, but not so much so that they made it through into where those points could definitely help them. Of course, that wasn't the first one, but that was the first winner chicken dinner for Boom Esports in the last chance. Now, we are going to be heading into Erangel to see where that zone is going to be popping, as we will be starting on that southern side, heading over towards the west. And again, a slightly more cut-off flight path, but it would still allow somewhat of a drop down onto this map.
I mean, at this point, judging from the plane line, okay, the south side, the western side, it's accessible. The northern school, Rose Rock, Yuzna, Poliana, they're not going to be accessible for the teams at this point. But so is the teams that are dropping. That's the question. Are they going to go for that push drop, the aggressive drops, or they're going to take the cars, try to find some vehicles, get out of there, get into their own drop-off locations like Rozog, the schools, the Yuzna, Poliana. 4th Drives, they're going close to the military base bridge. But wait a second. Oh my God. Circle going all the way to the top. Even almost 30% being in the water. That's already a very hectic circle for all of these teams at this point. Point Donkeys going to the Primox, Champions splitting drop into the quarry region and outskirts of the quarry region to the western area. There's the Sem9 into the quarry as well, right close to the area side of the Champions, so the fight can definitely occur. There is also Nexori close into the proximity of the hospital apartments, where they are getting collaborated with another team, and they are getting that knockdowns done on them.
Yep, that's what we love to see, teams getting right down to business. So let's see who's going to need the hospital and who will be the ones holding on to it, at least for the time being. Nexori going to look to try and bounce back. Already 2 players down for them. Arena, though, going all the way to town. Is lucky, is super unlucky, and, well, the whole of Nexori are going to be unlucky this time around, as they will get stopped in their tracks. They've got 3 points in the previous match. This time, they get none. Now, it is going to be the players here from Fourth Thrive moving on forward. A1 also just going to be keeping their eyes and their ears open. But I think a nice drop here for A1. Nice bit of a spread. Quite uncontested, so they don't have to stress too much about a random team rolling up on them. But we did see a few other teams also moving into the same area here. We did have Kinotrope. We also had Selcom Diggy Alliance. So there is going to be a little bit of tension, a little bit of pressure in the surrounding area. Talon also, I think, maybe might have gone for a little bit more of a northern positioning here. So you can't get too comfortable just yet.
I mean, yeah, that is absolutely true. You cannot get comfortable at this point in time, at this point in game. Yes, this is just the start for the game number 2, but you're also being one of the few teams that might not be getting a point in this game, because if you're not cautious, it's definitely come to bite you up. Boom Esports, the last match, they did really good, 16 points, M9. They also did really good. Even right now in this match, they secured that one elimination. The champions on our screen, close to proximity of the A1 Esports. The shots are going, but no connection. Every single connection was on the car, and now Finale finally is going to get into the car. He's going to move out of here and away from the sight of A1 Esports, because if they don't, there's the teams that know exactly where the opponents are, their opponents are, and they will definitely shoot at you, and they will definitely try, in fact, to get you down as well. But champions, hovercraft, meaning this team not only went to the shorelines, grabbed a hovercraft, and now came straight up near the circle area, the circle entry, and they're gonna definitely enter it up, but still, A1 is right in front of them.
Well, it is going to cause a little bit of a hunt. Let's see just how far they'll be able to get themselves. But in the meanwhile, Kinotrope, nice little bit of a rotation here, right? Utilizing that hovercraft, looking to see where they can go and how they can go about it. So far, relatively uncontested as they start creeping up on Heaven here. Curious whether or not they're actually going to look to take occupancy or maybe continue to push a little bit further on. It does seem like they are going to be heading right up into maybe Yasnaya Polyana. It is a very centered up position, so it would make sense. But we'll see if they do decide to go there. In the meanwhile, it's going to be Champions and Sem9 now finding themselves in a bit of a standoff potential here.
I mean, it's a standoff, yes, that is for sure. But the team that got the winner chicken dinner into the previous match, the Sem9, they not only just got a single elimination, even in this match, they are ready to take that action. E-Arena is also one of the teams that actually took down a whole full squad in front of them at one point in time. That was Nexori. But still, they need to do something to get something done. But so far, it is Champions close to Sem9. The shots are there. The location has been given. But Yumeko, you're away from the team, and you need to get back together. Staying this far away from your own team members, yes, it might work, it might not. But at this point, you have to make sure that you're together till the very end with your team. But oh my, no. Yuhai close to these areas. And another one, Sem9, for some reason, they're kind of scattered, DK. At this point, I'd say being scattered is not the play to go. Yes, you have your different cars, you have your different vantage points that you have to use to get into a safer side angle. But getting away from that vantage point and the rotation, that's not the thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to give it up unnecessarily. So in the meanwhile, it is going to be Fourth Thrives now also venturing a little bit further up to the north here as they are heading in the direction of Rozok. Curious if they are going to be bumping into someone. The answer is yes. It is going to be Selcom Diggy Alliance holding up right here alongside them. And of course, Fourth Thrives, they cannot let any opportunity slide, as they will look to get right down to business quickly, starting with a bit of a push, looking to apply themselves. You can see Tryout just ahead of them. Ooh, but this is where Fourth Thrives need to bring in the reinforcements, right? They're going to have to double down on the efforts, because so far they've only been able to identify at least 2 players from Alliance. And of course, the third that we have right there could definitely play quite a bit of a surprise, but it does seem like Fourth Thrives have a pretty good read on the situation, good angles. They are going to be looking to just poke and prod their way on through. Kasim, quite mobile downstairs, making too much noise, is going to pull 224 right to your doorstep. A tryout knows exactly what to do, keeps nice and quiet, stays low, trying to make absolutely zero noise at this point. And I mean, this could be a turning point for both squads. So there we go. They do start the fight as the opening shots have been secured. This is going to be that full send now heading right in the direction of tryout. Kasim could also be receiving a little bit of opposition. Noki is going to be knocked on down. Let's see whether or not Alliance are going to look to retaliate, or will they for now just keep their distance? Tryout quickly just ducking out that window. Trying to fall back into a little bit more secure position, but it is not going to matter. As you can see, T24 and the rest of Fourth Thrives absolutely on point with how they take this approach, just rushing in and clearing it up.
But still Fourth Thrives, the team. This is not looking good for these guys at this point. One player being down. Yeah, they managed to secure 2 of those eliminations, 3 of those eliminations in total. If they're lucky, if my eyes don't deceive me, I think that's yes, 3 eliminations. Yes, for sure, that's 3. And not only that, they're kind of into the safe side for now. But that fire that they just took out with a different team, the aggression, it has given out their locations to some of the different teams as well. But A7, DRX, wait a minute. The fight's happening back and forth. Alpha 7 receiving a lot of damage as a second one of their player gets knocked down. This is the first time their player is going to get taken down, so there's still a lot of opportunity for them to take it up. And there we go, another one down. Mafioso, he's the guy that's been knocked out. Confirmation will come into the play, and meaning Alpha 7 down to the very last guy, Carrillo. It's everything residing on him, and he's completely into the open. Backside, there's E-Arena. He's been contested from both sides. If you move forward, there's DRX. He goes back. There's E-Arena waiting for them, and those constant shots that are coming around. It's also happening, but Carrillo is going to get one player down with the one of the most, I'd say, a hard controlling gun. He got the knockdown from that, but E-Arena's Turnica comes into the play. And I think DRX might just survive because of this unwanted help from E-Arena into the back lines. So we do have to see what E-Arena is going to be doing from this point onward. But Turnica, he did a lot of damage. There's the third party. There's the fourth party, in fact, if I have to say. That is ASI-8 to the back lines as well.
Yeah, Crypto just dealing a quick little bit of damage into the side here of Turnica. So there is a beautiful chain fight now happening. We saw as the teams continue to try and get themselves situated, moving further and further afield. I'm not quite sure how E-Arena is going to bring back their third players. Joker is going to slowly bleed out unless that res can be secured. 8 eliminations to their name, though, is going to be a very healthy point to stand at for the time being. Now, Fourth Thrive starting to move into the area as well, and it is absolute chaos ensuing. Beautiful connection being made here by Turnica, turning the tables onto the side now of Fourth Thrives. Will they be able to respond? Will we see that closure coming in here as T24 is just going to be hovering on the edge, looking for a bit of that opportunity to assist their teammate. Turnica says no, moves in for the finish, dips in the vehicle, and gets the heck out of Dodge.
I mean, it's back and forth going on. Sem9, they're receiving the damage. E-Arena also closing on into the area, and they have the entry of the circle. They have the entry of the circle, and they're definitely going to deny the rest of the players to enter inside that circle. Booming Sports close to Sem9. The grenades, utilities, come on, this is the time. Yummy Johan throwing the smokes, but not the grenades. Finally, he has a grenade in hand. Will it connect? This is the main question, because in this area, if one grenade connects, if it gets a knockdown, that which it does by Ponbet's grenade, it's going to be detrimental for all of the Sem9s this player. Yes, you got that revival done, but now you have another one to revive from this point onward. Yummy Johan closes in, finds the player, gets the location, comes back, maybe another grenade will come into the play, but nope. I'm seeing Mastery into the area with the cars as well, trying to find out where the enemies are. Yummy Johan finally going into the back, maybe just getting out of here. This is the time. Team Boom Esports have decided that, okay, they do not want to take the fight any further. They don't want to drag it up. They're just going to get in the circle and in a safe side location, but this could have been an easy 3 eliminations, if I have to say, for Boom Esports if they have just taken that leap of faith.
Yep, they definitely could have done quite a bit with that position. Now it's going to be up to Fourth Drive to see if they can do the job instead. But the answer is no. SM9 sends them backing out. They go in 11th place. 5 eliminations to their name. Absolute skill going through here from SM9. Fire just locking it in. Now it's going to be E Arena circling back, looking to see if they can maybe find a little bit of contingency here. They know that shots have been fired. Are they going to be able to get that third-party steal here as they're riding the ridge, but Firein quick with the reaction, moving up on the hill, moving right alongside Joker to see if they can get the overwatch. This could be that turning point now where SM9 could lock in even more. Yumiko is going to get down, so things are starting to go ever so slightly downhill for them, as Firein is going to look to play for survivability now, just getting out of that pressure situation, looking to put a lot of distance between themselves and that push coming through from E Arena. But unfortunately for SM9, they are going to be losing 2 of their players. Firein is going to look to rotate now in the direction of Yasnaya Poliana, but we did see the players there from Celcom Digi Alliance just waiting on the front line. So not going to be too much of an easy rotation, or rather not Celcom. It was the players from Talon that we have waiting in the wing. The pressure still absolutely building and building as we push further and further through. We're about to hit stage number 4 and we have 10 teams remaining.
That's a huge number going on for all of this lobby, judging from the fact on how everyone is on the aggressive side, how everybody's on the edge, but the circle, oh my god, it's going to favor everyone going into the city of Yasnaya Poliana and the northern angle, that mountain ridges. Oh my god, it has came to outplay. These aviators, they don't have to move. Talon, they don't have to move. Boom Esports, they're just chill out there. A1, they also have a good, decent position for themselves. But Boom Esports, I'm looking at them into the mini screen. They're getting that fight with the Wine Donkeys. The Kinotrope, in fact, is getting that fight with the Wine Donkeys. But Boom Esports versus ASI8, it's happening. Boom Esports also looking at the arena, closing in into the area. The shots are there, but Zero misses every single one of them. And all up to Zero, the last guy of the team Boom Esports, do something from this point onward. There goes the flashbang. The player was flashed, but he entered with the S12K. He managed to get that elimination. And on the number 10, Boom Esports, it's out of the game. We are now down to 9 teams. But wait a minute. Hold on. DK, I just realized. Just look at the eliminations of E Arena.
They're going crazy, right? They are farming like it's no one's business. Absolutely just securing all the plays and sprays that they can find. But are they going to be able to maintain that consistency all the way through to the very, very finish? So far, really good approach onto the side here of ASI8. The utilities, the grenades, doing quite a bit of damage here. Really hampering the advances here for ASI8 as they now come through with a bit of a push. Solo left. It's not going to be an easy angle to push off of, as ASI8 still has that full squad crypto with the off angles overwatch. But will this be the clutch play now for NC2? Just to move in. Oh, misses the first shot. Lands the second. Going through for a big bit of a finish. Now, will they get rushed? Oh, just dancing around the room. After one outside, finds a beautiful hit now. Going to try and finish it all.
Oh my god.
Number 3, but still going to watch out for Crypto on that off angle, the jump shot. Now starting to line themselves up. Quick finishing play coming in there. NC2 now securing just another additional point, and there's that. It is a squad wipe. ASI8 go down to a shotgun.
No way! That's a 1v4 NC2. Oh my goodness! Another one! Another clutch came into the play, but not for long, as Arena finally, after 17 elimination, not a small number, 17 elimination, they finally get eliminated by the hand of the Xaviers. That's the first elimination that they're gonna have, and they just took it on the guy on the team that had the highest elimination number into the lobby. But top 6 it is, ladies and gentlemen. From this point onward, it is Voin Donkeys 4-man, Talon 4-man for the A1 and the Xaviers. But Kinotro champions, these are the two names with a trio into the play, and because of that, we shall have 22 players into the game for this top 6. On the front line, you can see the D Xaviers getting those shots with the Voin Donkeys. Gaycore is into the location where he's getting a lot of damage. He gets got on damage. Now he has been spotted. The rest of the teams of the Voin Donkeys, they're also going to be spotted. The shots are there, but not enough. Just barely not enough to get those knockouts done. But they also have to move in the circle. They have to climb up into the safe side as the circle has actually shifted into the city of Poliana.
So we are going to be looking at that finish, that city finish. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with Cine, but hey, we'll take a city instead, as it is going to be Voin Donkey. Now just locking down that coastline. Not quite sure how Kinotrope are going to be able to get themselves into that final positioning. The blue is going to start nipping at their heels very shortly. And of course, this being stage number 5, the blue zone damage is going to be immense. So not quite sure what options Finale has available to them. Try for a bit of a swim. Not going to be an easy one. Just dipping under that water to try and get themselves a little bit closer to the shoreline. Going to opt for a bit of an Aquaman approach. Just riding on the ridge. Don't want to get spotted out just yet. They do spot Maki off in the distance. But now it's going to be the side here of Voin Donkey and D Xavier. Potentially cooking up a bit of a storm between the two of them, but both squads essentially still have to solidify their position in the zone. D Xavier, they do have the advantage, but what is Voin Donkey going to do?
Voin Donkey, they have to stop the entry of these guys. But Voin Donkeys are finally first going to take down the players of Kinotro, making it a top 5 from this point onward. D Xaviers, 1 elimination, 4-man. On the front line, there is the Voin Donkeys, outskirts of this area, cooking a grenade, throwing it up into the compound. It's going to hit, it's going to do some damage, but not enough for the knockouts. But I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top of the compound. It's going to throw a grenade, which is going to hit Ryzek right there. And Machi with the smoke cloud, he's trying to get those smokes deployed upon on the players, Gaycore and the back lines, making sure that he can provide a cover from a different angle, from a different approach towards the players, Potato and the back lines as well. Nobody's going to be entering, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have to just detour your grenade a slight bit towards the ridge side where it might not go into the water, but on the players straight up, and you can get 2 eliminations back to back. But Potato finally moving forward, getting a lot of damage, going back into the safe side. And I just love the fact that only these 2 teams are taking the fight with the grenades and everything. The rest of the parties, the rest of the teams that are in the city, they're just chill out. They're just waiting for the circle to actually take over them, and then they're gonna like try to take the fights or take the locations for themselves.
Yeah, I think they just big chilling over there saying, you know what, it's fine. We're not going to intervene. We'll just wait for you to kind of wrap that fight up before we take the party to the next level. But now it's going to be Voin Donkey still aggressing onto D Xavier. A very admirable approach coming through from both sides. Voin Donkey looking for the opportunity. Got to watch out for those nades, though, as it does pick up 2 of their players. Now it's going to be up to Potato and Geico to see if they can clutch it up. Potato, I think, in a beautiful position here. D Xavier not quite aware of their whereabouts, but now comes the play, the push. It is going to be a slow animation to get up from the ground, but it doesn't bother as the S12K makes the necessary connections. And this is now where the situation starts to turn around. Voin Donkey going to leave their player to instead focus on the fight. Because with no players up, there's no fighting left. Here we go. The shots starting to fly all over the place. Voin Donkey just picking them off, but essentially getting picked off themselves. Absolute clutch coming through here from Nade.
Oh my god, it's a clutch with the grenade. 5 eliminations, but these Xaviers, oh my god, they're just barely surviving at this point. They're gonna get that revive, yes. State number 6 starting to close on. 3 minutes more, 2.5 minutes more, in fact, for this stage to actually close up. But look at the city. south side, in fact, the western side at the very center of the city, and on the eastern side, everybody's there. These top three teams, in fact, has the whole city for themselves. But these Xaviers, as they have made sure that every single one of their players back onto their feet, they're going to get into their cars, they're going to drive straight up into the city without even looking back, without even looking anywhere on any of those windows to try and hope to actually slam into one of the safe side location, where they will start to go on foot. They will start to climb up the rest of the areas on foot to make sure that they're not spotted by the enemy teams. Talon Esports, they're still in this location. Axel, the four compounds, the four basic compounds where you usually drop off into the Yasna Poliana, they have that full control of those compounds. And Talon Esports even have the rest of the area's location for themselves as well. As all of the eastern and north side till up to the very centralized position, it's all for Talon. The rest, the south side, it's all for the champions. But A1 Esports, they have the western side complete control for them, whether it's the station, whether it's any of those different compound areas near the station side, it's all the full control for that team. But these Xaviers, I want to see how they cement themselves into the Yasna Poliana amongst these rest of the three teams.
I can tell you it's not going to be easy, right? There's not a lot of options for them to try and take any occupancy of. As we do now look over on towards champions. Atomic just riding the ridge here of the building. Oh, but you got to watch out for those nades. Once the broom starts, that is going to be go time. It's going to be Balia getting taken on down. Now, the Xavier cooking up even more of a storm, getting ready for the push. The mollies come into play. Atomic dipping right into the flames here. Going to try and heal themselves up. Kino in a position where they can do nothing but look as their team now looks to bounce back. One beautiful shot being connected on through there. Let's see if Atomic can come in clutch. The answer is the yes. S12K for the win. Two players here from D Xavier getting downed. The rest of the team now from D Xavier deciding whether or not it's going to be worth the hassle to try and avenge their teammates. Atomic weighing up the options here. 3-piece is going to be a little bit better to try and fight with. We're going to try and just tank those utilities as the grenades continue to just poke away and eat away at the health bar. But Xavier also going to go in for the res.
No way! He just left that revive in a very last second, but finally getting that revival done. Atomic and alongside of Balja. Back together, a duo together for some reason. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, because if a single grenade would have landed there, it would have been an instant obliteration of both of these guys in a single moment. But Atomic now moving forward, they're getting onto the ridge, climbing it up. The grenades are going to make sure that the players are not there into the proximity, and he can easily interrupt the location. There's Kino on the side taking the fight against Talon Esports, but the Xavier's taking one player of the champion. Second one of the champion is also down. It's all up to Balja, the solo guy, the one and only hope for the whole team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's eliminated by the grenade. Atomic is there, and he also gets a finisher. But Balja cooking the grenade, throwing it up. Will it connect? The answer is slightly a yes, but to a no on the knockout side. So Balja, the last two grenades that you have at your disposal, at your arsenal, you have to be very careful of that. You're the only hope for the whole team. The rest of the players, like D Xaviers, they're 3. Talon is a 4-man. A1 Esports, they're just chilling straight up. Still at the station side, the northern side, the angles, the 6 big compounds, they have that control. But Balja, you're the only hope for the team, and you're just chilling out here. Somewhat in the circle, I do believe so. Yes, he is in the circle. There's still no meters of the distance to get into the safe zone area, but circle's closing on. Everybody needs to be in a panic mode from this point onward, because it's 12 teams, and this small of a radius only means one thing. You make one wrong step, one wrong entry on any one of these compounds, and you can instantly be decimated from that point onward.
I mean, 12 teams in this zone would be quite a lot, but yes, 4 teams are going to be looking to fight it out for the finish. It puts us on an average of about 3 players apiece, but of course, we can see the numbers up at the top of the screen there. Not quite sure if Balia is going to be able to get out of that sticky situation, though. In the meantime, A1 getting ready to just lay down their assault here, as D Xavier will have to move a little bit further forward as the zone takes a slight shift up into that northeastern side. Talon now getting into position here, also looking to leverage the slight bit of an advantage they have over onto D Xavier, but that smoke road going a long way as numbers now make it up into safety, securely in towards that zone. Talon did get a knock coming in their direction. Let's see if they are going to be able to get themselves patched up and ready for the fight. 4-player squad still available here for them to try and utilize. But A1 surprisingly very quiet over on that eastern front.
I mean, I love that. It's the calm before the storm. They're just assessing the situation that, okay, you can take the fight. You can take those points for yourself, but we are aiming for that winner chicken dinner. We're aiming for those 10 placement points whatsoever. But D Xavier so far into the squad house that they go. Pubg into the front lines, throwing the grenade, getting a slight bit of damage, but Nate team to the front lines with the DVS in hand. Finally, he's going to go into the play. Flash from the backside. In fact, A1 Esports is going to take the last player of Champions Esports out. So it's top 3 versus 4 versus 4. A1 Esports, that's the second elimination that they're going to have. Talon Esports into the clothesline vicinity. Now they have been known for the location of the Xaviers, the grenades, the Molotovs, the flashes. Everything is coming up. DB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's outskirts. He's outside of the compound. He's not in. He's not staying in the compound because he knows that everyone is going to try to look for the corners of the compound. So why not stay outside, make them not look at you, and when the iron's hot, they're just going to strike it up. But Talent and a Cull, let's see. DBS, a lot of damage has been done upon on D Xavier's players, but not enough still to get those eliminations, to get those knocks even started. It's going to be a chain reaction from this point onward. Even a single player that's going to get a knockdown, the rest of the chain reaction is going to start. A1 there, Rowdy with the getting shield down. Kogi is also going to be taken down. Axel, the one and only hope for the team at Talon Esports at this point, is going to enter. He's going to get shotted from the backside of A1 Esports, and right with this, the player DX came on the rooftop of the house, instantly get decimated by A1 Esports as well. It's a winner chicken dinner for A1 Esports, ladies and gentlemen, with a single blink of an eye. Those were 2 different teams, 2 different locations that instantly got finished off. And in the very end, A1 Esports and they're holding off the locations, not taking any unnecessary fight, paid off.
I mean, you said strike while the iron is hot. I think they made a whole new entire iron for themselves there. But yeah, big shout out going out to A1 coming in absolute clutch in this match. Talk about waiting for the opportune moment, right? They showcased exactly that. So big congratulations going out here to them. And of course, it's great to see them now rising to the occasion. But they've been dormant. They've been quiet, just patiently waiting to see when will be that exact opportunity, when it will present themselves. And boy, oh boy, did they do a great one right here. But yeah, there we have it. Match number 2, done and dusted. We got to take a look and see what that match rankings looks like. But we saw from A Arena, rather, a beautiful performance, right? 17 eliminations coming in from their end. Definitely setting the bar quite high for what we are to see on the rest of the day. But A1 Esports getting those very crucial points secured now.
I mean, that's some crucial points that they're going to have. A great start for the A1 at the very least. Just a single day. You only have a single day, and you need to get as many winner chicken dinners as you can possibly can. They know. A1 knew this, and that's exactly why they were like, okay, not taking any unnecessary fights. Let's aim for the winner chicken dinner. But Arena's Turny K, 8 elimination to this individual guy. We saw 16, 17 elimination for the whole team, and out of those, 8 eliminations are just for this single individual player. 894 of a damage, 15 minutes and 22 seconds of the survival time. He's the MVP for the match number 2 of the Last Chance Survival Arena. Ernie K. But the rest of the teams, meaning got 50, almost 60% of the contribution, whereas he himself got 40, in fact 50, 45% of the contribution all by himself. And look at that, 18 total points. 17 out of which are just with those eliminations. A1, winner chicken dinner, 6 elimination, 16 total points. D Xavier, 8 elimination, 6 placement, 14 total points. 9 total points for the talent. Wine Donkeys with the 6 points, 5 for champions alongside of 4 thrives. Sem 9 with the 4, Kino 12, 3 alongside of ASI 8 with the 3 as well. DRX, Alpha 7, 2 points each. Boomy Sports with the 1, but Celcom and Nexori getting a donut.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, it happens. But I mean, what an impressive showing this was. The Xavier, I like the fact that they decided to also then step up to the plate coming into this game. If you remember the previous match, they were the team to sit with not a single point secured. But here we go. It is going to be the overall standings. These are our current top 9 teams. This is where you want to finish come end of day today. You want to be on this page, the first page, the big one, where it's all going to be focused on here today. As we know, the teams are going to look to grind as much as they can to secure their positions on this slot right here.
This is the overall 19 points. But E-Arena, oh my goodness, with just that previous match, they got the second position for themselves as well. But Champions, Celcom, 4 Thrives, TRX, Kinotrope, Nexori, they're going to lose so much of those placement points for themselves. And they're going to be on the page at number 2. 10 for Champions, 11 placement for Celcom, 4 Thrives on 12, TRX on 13, 14 on Kinotrope, and 15 for Nexori. But Z plus Kia, Alpha Gaming, Nomshing's Red Force, they haven't even played a single game today. And that instantly means one thing, DK, that this is one of the few teams. These are the 3 names that is absolutely may not go into the grand finals.
Yeah, unless they change something quite drastically, it is going to be really, really tough to contest with the rest of this lobby. But of course, our 2 teams that have taken those winner chicken dinners, there we can see them. Of course, it is Sem 9 and A1 currently occupying the slots up into the top 3. But so E-Arena, with that insane performance that we just witnessed from them, actually jumped up 12 slots, right? 12 positions in one single game. A1 also then leaping up 10 slots right into that 3rd place. So it just shows that if a team decides it is now, it starts to happen. The Xavier also with a beautiful 9 slot jump there. So I'm curious as to who's going to be the next team to bring in such a devastating blow to these overall standings, because I mean, it just keeps on going.
I mean, it definitely keeps on going. Every single match is crucial for the team, and every single match is very important. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are done and dusted with the 2 matches, the Miramar, the Erangel. It's done. We're going to go on to the second set of the Miramars and the Erangels after this highlighted short break. So enjoy that while we take a short water break.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to move into game number next. Of course, already quite a bit of action has unfolded already, as we've seen now. The past game absolutely livid with action. It has just gone all over the place, and a beautiful victory coming through from the side there of A1, reigning supreme, showcasing that if you wait a little bit, right, you're just a little bit patient, you could get your hands on a glorious winner chicken dinner. And they did so with a decent serving of points as well. But of course, that means game number 2 is now done and dusted. We have 4 more to go. So we are going to be hitting in, as you said, our next pairing of a little bit of Miramar and Erangel. So curious to see what the teams are going to be looking to bring on through. Are they going to try and take the aggression to another level? Will they try to respond and maybe rectify a few of the mistakes that they might have made in the first 2 games? Or are they just going to go to town and see how aggressive they can be here, Torix?
Yeah, we do have to see how aggressive are they going to get and how aggressive will they be going on from that point onward, because it is almost a halfway done. Half day is going to be done after this Miramar match that is about to commence. And judging from the fact on how the teams have been playing, the first match was completely aggressive. The second match was somewhat into a, I'd say, medium-paced match where Erangel was at the start somewhat on an aggression. Middle phase, it was complete stalemate. End moments, everybody was waiting for the other teams to make a mistake at that point. So those were the phases that was going on. But now, it's another Miramar. It's another Miramar that's going to commence. And once again, it will be heavily determined on where the plane line is first and foremost going to go, how the circle is going to be formed up, and how many of the teams will decide on top of that to actually contest the other teams that may be on the top, that may be doing really good to bring them down.
And I mean, looking at the entry into top 9, it's only 12 points, right? So it's 12 points for 8th and 9th place. So Boyne Donkey as well as Alpha 7 are going to be hoping that they can pack in a few additional points moving through this coming game, because if they don't, there's a golden opportunity for a team like Full Thrives, DRX, Ginotrope, Nexary, or even Champions Esports to take it that extra step further. And I mean, if we see D Plus Kia, Alpha Gaming, or Red Force joining us in this next game, all they need to get is a winner chicken dinner and 2 eliminations, or however they want to get to 12 or 13 points. That's it, right? That will place them right up in the qualifying slot. So the pressure is going to be pretty high, especially looking at the teams within the top 9 defending their positions for the time being.
I mean, at this point, it's more about like defending your throne on the top side with those crucial points that will possibly actually accumulate to help you stay into that same phase of action. So the top 9 is the threshold that the points have. You have to make sure that you're actually gaining all of those points for yourself from that point onward. There is no way, there is no hope whatsoever on that particular factor, on that X factor thingy, that you make a mistake and it actually works out for you. Yes, there's a slight chance that it may, but majority of the way, it's not going to help you. It's actually going to hinder your performance, and you might lose your even chance. You might lose even your entry of getting into that grand finals because of that. One small mistake is all it's going to take for the teams to lose everything, every chance that they have of going into the grand finals.
It's quite stressful, right? One mistake could cost you quite a bit at this point, and especially looking at the pacing and the aggression that these teams are bringing forward, you can't really afford to be making any mistakes whatsoever. So, yeah, I think the closer we get to this third game and moving up into that fourth game, that is going to be the big decider, the big convincer as to who will be the teams that have a really high chance of staying or qualifying for that top 9. For the time being, it is still pretty much anyone's game, right? Because the top of the leaderboard is 19 points. It's not an impossibility for any of the teams on the second page to secure that many points in one game. So the pressure is going to be pretty high, looking to see if the teams can do what needs to be done here.
I mean, whatever needs to be done, like how even like one of the teams actually played it up with 17 of those elimination points. It's definitely possible of going completely haywire on that aggression, on that full throttle. That was the only team that was completely going haywire. I think it was the Xaviers, if I'm correct. No, yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was the Xaviers with those 17 elimination points. But if they had secured some more placements, oh my God, that's 20 plus points. So with just on the aggressive stances, 17 of those eliminations, 5 or 6 of those placements would have been enough to secure them into the very top of the leaderboard. But the momentum that they have gained, the confidence that they have gained after this single individual match of the aggression, it's definitely going to help them even for this match to push through, to maybe go for that aggressive stance once again for all of these other teams. And that has actually put a lot of pressures on the other teams as well, after seeing the leaderboard on how many eliminations that this single individual team has secured for themselves into the previous match. They're definitely going to be getting pressured as soon as they're going to see, okay, this is the D Xavier that is in front of us. They have the potential, they have that aggression to take us down as well.
Yeah, D Xavier was one of those teams that jumped up a lot, coming through with 8 eliminations total. But the team that got the 17, that was E Arena in the past match that we just watched. But either which way, I mean, if it's E Arena or D Xavier, we've been seeing quite a bit of an upward trend coming through from both those squads. So I'm also happy to see that A1 Esports brought a lot of that pressure in onto this past match as well. It was about time that we see what performance they are looking to bring into our matches at hand. But yep, so far it's all going to boil down to what the teams decide moving into this next game, right? It's very difficult to predict what these teams are going to be doing, because at any point they can decide to do things in a completely different way. And I think that speaks to the capability of these squads, right? So that they are just so capable of changing things, changing that mentality. And we've seen that essentially happening over the previous 3 days. And it is still pretty evident moving into today's games. They come in, they go like, you know what? Let's go get aggressive. They go out and they just rip that lobby to pieces.
Oh, yeah. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. And that should have been the mentality for all of these teams from this point onward. This should be the mentality. In fact, because we want to see the destruction as well. As much as we do, the teams have to secure those crucial points. And they can only secure them right now with those aggressive stances. If they're not aggressive, if they're not on the full throttle of their game, they're definitely going to be those pressure points that will make them make the mistakes that they shouldn't have. And that's actually going to change majority of the things for them. The momentum could have changed because of that. One player gets eliminated, that will put the pressure. More players and more players are going to get taken down because of that. Maybe into the late rotation wise, you do a late rotation, you're going to be pressurized. You lose a player, that's a pressure point for you guys. You don't find a car in the Miramar, that's another pressure point for the team. So there's so many pressure points that at this point, I'd say being aggressive and taking a hard drop with another team in a city where you know for a sure that you're going to find vehicles, the transportation, that's the only way to go at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those, it's going to be the name of the game, right? You got to do what is needed here. And so, as you said, if you need those vehicles to get to where you need to go, you better grab them. That's something that I still struggle with, right? I don't do vehicles all that much. I prefer to run. But again, there's a reason why I'm sitting here and I'm not out on the battlefield playing against these teams. So yeah, I'm curious as to what Erangel is going to bring on next, right? Because we've seen quite a few teams actually in the previous few days securing themselves some glorious winner chicken dinners. I wonder if we are going to be maybe looking at some of that yet again, right? If we take a look back at what we had, for instance, just coming into the last match, Alpha 7, right? All the way back in the second or the last Murmur that we had in day 3 yesterday, came through with a glorious winner chicken dinner, of course, doing so with those 5 eliminations up as well. So they've all shown that they can do what is needed here. And I hope they decide that this Erangel is going to be the match in which they choose to step up. And of course, looking at Alpha 7, they're one of those teams that are sitting as the guardians of the top 9. 12 points to their name. And if they play a strong match and they secure a bucket load of points, I mean, they could then relieve themselves of that responsibility and move up to a higher spot in that leaderboard.
I mean, yeah, they have to be on to the highest part of the leaderboard. But it's only one day. I'm so confused on this, that there's only one day for the teams, and the amount of aggression that they are doing, yes, it's good, it's amazing, but every single team needs to perform something to make the lobby more interesting, to make the fights more interesting. We need to see every single one of these teams perform. I love the way that i8 is actually performing in today's matches. The first one, they got into the top 2. The second one, they actually managed to did secure some of the decent number of points for themselves. E-Arena, yes, they were also doing some decent performances into the match number 1 and into the match number 2, but these Xaviers, match number 1, they didn't do anything. Match number 2, same thing, but on the opposite side. The way that they were not doing anything on the match number 1, they did everything on the match number 2 from the transition point. They had 17 eliminations. Yes, they did got early eliminated. That's one thing. But I think the amount of elimination that they had on them justifies even that early elimination. They did got 1 placement points. Same with the rest of the teams. Like Sem9, take Sem9 for example. The first match was good for them. Sem9 did really took off into the match number 1, but there was also the crucial factors of, I'd say, A1s or E-Arena or D Xaviers that actually kind of like played it off. E-Arena, Sem9, yes, in overall ranking, they are on the same points. It's just a matter of factor of the winner chicken dinner that's making the huge difference right there. A1 also is consistent. Boom Esports, ASI8, they're also consistent, but the second chart teams, the teams that are on the page number 2, like Fourth Thrives, DRX, Cellcom Digi Alliance, I've seen them. Cellcom Digi Alliance, not only into the Miramar match that we saw at the very start, they took a hot drop there. Wrangle match, they also took another hot drop into the location. There was a team close to their proximity. So every single time, Cellcom Digi Alliance is kind of getting into the fights, but they're not making those fights into their own favors.
Yeah, it's almost like they're serving themselves up on a platter and say like, "Hey, here we are. We're not going to be too easy to swallow, but eventually you'll get us down." So, I agree with you. I want to see a little bit more of a contention coming through from the team situated over on towards the second page. Champions Esports, though, I like what they've been bringing to the table. Right, not necessarily the most impressive performance that we've seen from them, but it's there, right? They're getting into the flow, getting into the rhythm. So it's all going to boil down to the remaining few games to see whether or not they can actually take it all the way to the bank, right? Get in onto those 9 eliminations and then see where the next stage will be taking them if they decide that they want to go for that top 9. And I think that's the scary part here, is that any of these teams can decide that now is going to be go time.
I mean, yeah, this is the go time, and you have to throttle up your momentum from this point, because if you don't, I'm looking at this. 2 matches done and dusted, 4 more to go. We're basically kind of into somewhat the threshold of the markers where you're gonna have 2 Wrangles, 2 Miramars to wrap up your performances, wrap up every aggression that you can possibly have for yourself. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the game, in fact, and already there's so much of the fights that has happened. DRX, Fourth Thrives, Telcom Digi Alliance, even Talon, they have been eliminated.
Everybody's gone. Where'd they go?
God.
I mean, next week got 4 eliminations up. Alpha 7 sitting on 6. D Xavier, ASI 8 sitting on 4 apiece. Even the players there from Champions also coming through with 4 points on their end. But now we can see how the standings are shifting, how they are changing. Talon coming into this match with 13 points to their name. Now, is that going to be enough, right? They win 7th place, but now the pressure starting to mount. Not quite sure if they are going to be able to hold on. Sem9, the team currently occupying the top of the leaderboard, is getting so much pressure being applied onto them here from ASI 8.
That was a 1 versus 2 with a single spray, 30, 40 bullets of the M416, and it's amazing. Sim9, they did good, but right now they're struggling so much. Oh, if they get eliminated, that's an easy entryway point for the E Arena to secure that #1 position for themselves. But ASI8 so far, Casanova, he is also struggling to go forward. Sem9, the solo guy, and close to the area, you can see there's Nexori's players as well, fully scattered. And on even on the right side of this Los Leones' outskirts, there's more than these three teams. These three teams like Nexori, Sem9, and ASI, there's also more and more different teams. Alpha 7, A1, they're getting into that fight. Nexori versus Sem9, the last guy firing. They're going head-to-head in a tussle. The smokes, the shots are coming up. The grenade is approaching Firen as well. He needs to get out of there as soon as possible. But there's a car, his own team member's car, blocking the way. No way. Firen, you cannot go out of this area unscathed. If you have to take that detour straight up from the faces of Nexori's players, and that's definitely going to affect you. That's definitely going to hit you hard. But 6 eliminations so far for ASI8. This is a good start for ASI8 as well.
Yeah, definitely is quite a good start. This is the kind of pacing that we want to see, and so many teams already sitting with those points on board, doing what they need to make sure that they can get in on top 9. Los Leones is going to be a hot and heated location for the time being. As you can see, Boom Esports making their way through, looking to maybe just reposition themselves a little bit more in towards that centralized region. We have, of course, shifted into stage number 4. And we are 20 seconds away from seeing where number 5 will be taking us. Alpha 7, I like that from them. Moving up onto the hills, looking for a bit of a vantage point down into the city itself.
This is the city that's going for the circle this time. Los Leones is going to be the contestation point. But so far, it is Boom Esports into the city. And they have like a decent, I'd say, position for themselves. Alpha 7 is also in a decent location, but kind of scattered. This is not good for Alpha 7 to be scattered in this kind of a city. Yes, you have a lot of entry and exit points for yourself, but it also means that the other teams may also have the same advantage against you, the same entry and exit points that they can utilize to actually aggress on you. So far, Mafioso looking at the corners, looking at the mountaintops to try and find out the players, where they are. Nobody's being spotted. Nobody's being seen. Mafioso looking at Wine Donkeys. He's finding it up. Maybe he has spotted down the player because of the ridge glitch that we usually see on these kind of like high ridges of mountain. You can see the players, but you cannot shoot at them. Maybe that's the reason he's still staying there. But on the other side, there's ASI8 coming in close to Alpha 7. Sem9 gets eliminated by Nexori, whereas ASI8 has taken down one of the player of the Alpha 7. That's a knockdown, not a confirmation yet, but ASI8, it all depends on how far you are from the team, that if they're going to be able to get that revival done, or you're going to be rushing on them and securing that elimination.
Well, now it is going to be a little bit of a waiting game here. See whether or not Balja can get that spray down in towards the next 3. A lot of movement down below, but no clear angles aligning just yet. Gotta watch out for Apex as well, as we saw, especially coming through yesterday's games. Apex definitely going to bring in quite a bit of that pressure, but Demo now managing to evade that first initial nade. Not succeeding the way that Champion Esports would have wanted it to just yet. A very tricky angle to play off of here. I'm curious whether or not Balja is maybe going to try and reset, maybe move into a different location, but they don't want to lose that line of sight that they have down onto the edge, at least not for the time being. Meanwhile, Alpha 7 going to continue to advance further and further into the city, keeping a very watchful eye on the hilltop. Don't want to get caught out in that rotation. Boom Esports also just there ahead of them, so multiple opportunities now could be available if Alpha 7 is able to really navigate and just kind of sneak their way through Los Leones.
This is one thing, but I don't think so. Anyone should be getting out of this Los Leones, but at the same time, it's 20 meters outside of the circle at this point. You have to enter the 20 minutes in, 20 meters, in fact, inside that circle. Joker on the top of this building so far. It's still being like constructed. Alpha 7, Revo, there we go. Mafioso, as he gets knocked down, there also is a Revo down. Shots are coming. The player is getting that damage done on him, and right with this, it's a knockdown. It will be 2 casualties, maybe for Alpha 7, but I think it only is gonna change it to 1 as Alpha 7's player is right there for Mafioso. He's going to get that revival done. Revo gets finished off, and it's E-Arena. Once again, with 3 elimination. Last match, they were the one responsible for the 17 elimination, but now it is Revo, again, E-Arena, 3 eliminations. Casanova, close to A7. Let's see if Casanova, with 40 bullets of the M4, is going to be able to achieve that. But look at the vest and helmet. Level 3 helmet, that's good. But level 1 West, he is not going to be able to tank those bullets if it comes down on his chest.
Beautiful spray coming through from Casanova. Jumping out the window. Hits into Carrillo now. Going in for that finisher. Closing it up. And this is Alpha 7 being put on quite a bit of a back foot already. 2 knocks, or 2 eliminations rather, on their side. So now been able to bounce back ever so slightly. But let's see whether or not ASI8 is going to look to go full force. They could lock it in, and that would put them on 9 eliminations if they get these sprays secured. Mafioso and Squash Brew, definitely 2 tough contenders coming in on that Alpha 7 side. Casanova quickly just retreating back up to the top, keeping themselves out of harm's reach. Not going to be looking to move through that danger zone just yet. But you can't run too far, right? Because you might avoid the team that you're trying to engage with right then and there, but you might at the same time unwillingly be rotating up yet into another squad.
Yeah, that is for sure. But Alpha 7, I just love this fact that previous match, it was Isnaya Poliana's a city that was completely in the circle. This time, it's Los Leones, another city shift of the circle. It's definitely showing all of these teams, all of these players at this point that, okay, you need to make sure that you're a survivor, you're on the survival instinct, and you're making sure that every single angle of yours is completely into the safe side. You're not opening yourself to any of those locations that can potentially harm you or get you eliminated from the match. Nexori is one of the team that has this 5 elimination, but at the cost of one of their players. That is luck. The rest 3 players, they're closely entering the circle. They have the circle, in fact, for right now, but for how long? As 10 seconds more, and stage number 6 is going to be formed. Imagine going all the way hard northern side. Nobody's going to be into the city. Imagine going all the way up to the barren lands of the northern side areas, but nope, the circle is going to go back to the city. It is, and majority, almost we say 90% of the teams are still in the safe spot.
It's a pretty tough shift coming through onto the zone here. It is going to be a nice little bit of an urban play, as we are going to be seeing how these teams will look to get themselves situated and positioned, because again, moving into the city is not the easiest one. So many angles to be quite wary of, and you could get jumped from anywhere. But now it's going to be Voindongi taking up that northern occupancy. Potato, I like that setup that they've got. Still, Voindongi not really going to be getting themselves off of that elevated ground just yet, right? It does provide them with a bit of an advantage back into the city itself. But let's see whether or not Nexori can instead get themselves situated as they start to creep up the ridgeline. Still going to be very watchful there of Champions. Doesn't seem like Champions are too focused, for at least for the time being, on getting Nexori out of that position. Kinderdrop, though, nice little bit of a quiet angle here. Tamara, the only one left now for the squad.
He's the only guy alive. Squash Boo for Alpha 7. The only hope. He's going to throw the Molotov in one play. The grenade is going to come from the second one. He's going to throw everything at his arsenal to make sure that the player is not coming in on the first floor, in fact. towards his side, but one more grenade, 4 more Molotovs on the other contrary side. Okay, his grenade numbers are small, but he has a lot of Molotovs to accommodate for all those lost grenades. Wine Donkeys into the front lines. They are into the circle so far, but oh, wait a second, a grenade comes in from E Arena, a third party in the midst of all of this, and takes down Alpha 7 with them. Grenade that got the elimination on the Alpha 7 is going to go towards E Arena and Tourniquet. That's 3 eliminations back to back for the single individual player. ASI 8 is also going to lose one of their players. The more players, Casanova, Zephyr. I don't know why he's still thrown down on those stairs, but for some reason he is. He don't want to give out the location to his position. In fact, to Wine Donkeys. And Wine Donkeys, they're definitely going to enter this location. Josefa is going to take down 1. Potato gets taken down as well. That's Josefa being the final hope for the team against the team Wine Donkeys' players. Potato got instantly decimated right there. But Casanova, he needs to get that revival done. And I don't think so that's going to be possible anytime soon.
Interesting maneuvers coming through there from Voin. Also got to watch out for E Arena, who's now starting to mobilize as they do start to take their approach from that eastern side. Tony K already showing that he means business, coming through with some beautifully placed grenades. But now, where will this take us next? NC2 trying to get a bit of a lay of the land. Can see the smokes just boiling up ahead now. And Mormon going to be also just plunging on in here. They're going to try and surround the angle that we have for ASI8. Multiple opportunities now, just riding on the ridge lines as the zone does center up on itself. So it is going to pull all these squads a little bit further towards that northern side, but will allow for quite a bit of the fighting to continue. You can see Rowdy just there, patiently waiting. Nexary, though, still having no luck with getting themselves back up into the zone. As they now move up, Kino rotating just ahead of them. Demo, this is your opportunity to try and climb that ridge. Because if you don't, it is going to be Voin Donkey coming in from behind to help you back into the lobby.
Situation has came to a very stern point where you're gonna make a move and it's gonna backbite you. You make one move, there's gonna be 3 moves ahead of you. There's gonna be 3 moves that's going to be against you, but instead of being in your favor. Because after throwing a grenade, that's gonna hit NC2 in an instant. E Arena is gonna have one of their players being knocked out, but E Arena, Mormon, this guy is going haywire. The team is going to haywire, but NC2, he did got eliminated. So it's a 3 versus a 1 scenario, and Josefa, as soon as he's gonna get taken down, it's ASI's I8's demise at 10 elimination, but on the side of ASI 8 this round. Good start, good momentum that they gained for themselves, but not enough. But from this point onward, it is top 7, E Arena with 6. Once again, they're coming back with their game style, with their aggression, as the lobby is going to be more and more intense for all of these 7 total teams. E Arena is definitely going to step up with that aggressive stance. As Boom Esports is another team with the duos surviving. They're in the circle. They don't need to make any kind of unnecessary moves. They just can't go for that winner chicken dinner. But look at the champions. Look at the Nexori. Nexori gets knocked down, a confirmation, but oh, come on, Yummy Johanna. You had it. You had it almost, but missed out big time at the very end because of the reload that you just faced. But Boom Esports is 0. Different angle, different location. Nobody's in the front lines, and he's just chilling out there. But E Arena, this team, they are constantly going after ASI8s. Now they are against the Wine Donkeys.
Well, let's see if Voin Donkey is going to be able to win that fight. A1 now, trying to figure out what their play will be. How are they going to sneak their way up in towards the zone left with a duo? A lot of squads already having quite a bit of a blow being dealt to their numbers here. Champions going to be one of those squads still left with the 3-piece. Same could be said here for Voin Donkey as well. But the rest of the lobby essentially now just the duos making their way through. Boom Esports also no strangers to that situation, as we can see Zero holding on the ridge line. A quick little rotate coming through. Has Voin Donkey looks for their entry, sneaking up along the northern side. It is going to be the side of champions here to meet them. Nexary, Apex, again coming through with the utility, does find Mochi in the approach. So that is a 2-for-1 special. Now, will they be able to get the final player? The last one standing, at least on the front line here. The answer is almost yes. Void Donkey now left with a solo. This is gonna be up to Gay Core now, looking to defend the honor. But of course, the champions also going to try and capitalize on a bit of an opportunity. As you can see, their teammate now creeping on the ridgeline. Kinotrope is going to be taken out in 6th place. Down to the final 5 we go. Apex still continuously looking to lay down the nades. They've not been able to get the confirmation, and that could quite easily be stolen by the hand there of Void Donkey. Gekor does exactly that now. The nades starting to rain on down. Apex, you got to switch to those weapons. But here we go. The shots are in, and that is it. Void Donkey go down.
Apex, this guy has just became the Apex Predator. Oh my god. The way he just took down 2 players from the grenades and 1 with the MG3 with just the 35 bullets. It's amazing. It's amazing. Mormon, on the other hand, from E-Arena. 6 elimination. Only 2 players are remaining. Attorney K and Mormon at this point. From this point onward, we do have to see what the situation is going to go. The grenade actually stopped E-Arena into their paths. Another one being cooked by the hand of E-Arena this time around. They're going to throw it up. It's going to do a lot of damage, but Turny K, he's going to get taken down by the DBS. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mormon into the way, getting the elimination on Boom Esports and saving his own team member E-Arena once again. After previous matches, 17 elimination, 18 total points. This match, he has finally managed to secure the top 3 spot with 8 eliminations. Champions, they also have 8 elimination. Nexori, they have 9 elimination. It's a 1 versus 1 versus 2. So, E-Arena having the highest probability from this point onward to secure the winner with a chicken dinner. It's only going to depend on who's going to have that very middle spot and who's going to be able to hold down the fort against all of these teams.
Well, we'll get our answer to that question very soon now, as it is going to be Kino here for champions. The first one to get rushed as E-Arena takes up their positions. 30K coming through the utilities yet again. Oh, quick little peek. There we go. Mormon has been knocked. Almost finished as well. There we go. Yes, indeed, that has happened. Now Apex coming through with the utilities is the 1v1v1 showdown. As Kino is the one positioned on high. Oh, but not being able to avoid the damage. A quick finish coming through from the side of Tony K. And now it is the final showdown. Who will be the one to get that winner with a chicken dinner? Tony K running straight up into a molly, a jump shot, and that is it.
God.
Nexary come in and they reign supreme, grabbing that winner chicken dinner with everything they had.
Apex, Apex, Apex. This guy from solo to YOLO all this game. He has done it. He got the winner chicken dinner for the team. Amazing start. Nexori, it is Apex, the Apex Predator in this game. Baga, 0990, Luck, alongside of Demo. These 4 players, out of which Apex came in with the clutch in the very end. He took down 3 players at one point in time. Then he took down another players of, in fact, I would say the same team. But in the very end, the moment he got like the MG3 reloaded, he got the MG3 lock and loaded, he has started to got those elimination numbers. And I'm really going to be excited to see how many eliminations that this guy has, because I think it's close to 10. But Apex with 7 individual elimination, 925 damage. That's a 29 minutes of survival time, ladies and gentlemen. 29 minutes and 17 seconds into the play. E-Arena couldn't even stand a chance in this particular vicinity. They got absolutely decimated by Apex's MG3. The jump shot, the connectivity that he manages to secure on the players from that kind of like an angle, it's super hard on it as it is with any of the 7 bullets gun, DK. But this guy, he not only utilized that, he got those eliminations.
Yeah, and that's the key part of it, right? Not being able to just hit the shots, but do so in a beautiful fashion. And speaking of beautiful fashion, here we go. A glorious 20 points going over to the side there of Nexary. capitalizing on a phenomenal game. And of course, what a way to step it on up. The previous two matches, in fact, they only were able to garner themselves 3 points total. Now, going over and above their overall plays that we've seen so far. So this is exactly what we were talking about. One team can decide to change it, and then we just saw that happening. But E-Arena, though, you got to commend the consistency here, right? Coming through with 18 points in the previous match, 15 points in this match. Things are looking pretty good over in the E-Arena camp.
Yep, E-Arena. Again, with the consistency, match number 2, match number 3, 18 points, match 2, match 3, 15 points. That means within the 2 total matches that they have played, they have secured 33 points for themselves. And because of that, 34 total points, meaning match 1, they only managed to secure a single point for themselves. 34 it is, but still 9 points of a difference against the number 2 teams. That is ASI 8, is climbing up ladders, 3 steps, 3 placements. Number 2, they are 25 points. And Exori, 23, right there with this as well. A chicken dinner that they took got them 12 placements right there. But from this point onward, it is Champions Esports, 6 points, climbing up into the leaderboard. Number 4, they are 23, 22 for Boomies, Sports M9 with 21, 20 for A1, 19 for Alpha 7, and D Xavier with 18 points in total. Spot 1, the chart number 1 is done and dusted. 3 matches have been played. Chart 2, it is Wine Donkey, 16 total points, 14 for Talon, Kinotrope with 9, alongside of Cellcom, 8 for 4 Thrive, 7 for DRX, and the rest of the 3 teams that haven't even joined into the match.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on over with the DRX. I mean, I guess when we're on Erangel, they enjoy it a lot and they really come to the party. But this time around, it seems like Miramar not going to be such a big favorite here for them, at least not today. But I like what Kinotrope's doing, upping the ante as they are still steadily locking in those points. But of course, here we have our winner chicken dinner taker so far. It is going to be Sem9 as well as A1. And then, of course, the next week coming in just this last match. But now, as you can see, we have hit that halfway mark. So 3 matches done, 3 more matches to go.
3 more done, 3 more to go, and that's going to determine who will be into the top 9 after those 3 matches and secure their spot straight up into the grand finals of this reign. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, the 3 matches, the half day of the playoffs, of the final chance is done. The rest half is going to be after the short break. Do not go anywhere. Take a really light break, and we will back after this highlights one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, after this short segment of the break, of the highlights break, we are back with our fourth match on the way. 3 matches have been done and dusted. We just witnessed a Miramar. That means it's time. It's time for the default map to once again commence the wrangle to actually start and take the flight for itself as well. But with you guys once again, even after the half day, it is me, Torix, and with me it's going to be none other than DK as well. DK, welcome back. Throughout the journey, it's been ups and downs on these teams. Some of the teams, one game they go completely haywire on the aggressive stances. Some of the games we see super stale game.
Yeah, I don't quite know what's happening there, right? Maybe it could be because they're trying something slightly different, or maybe they just I don't know, need a little bit of tea or something. I don't know. Could be anything. But hopefully they've had enough tea and enough stuff to get themselves prepped up and ready to go, as we are going to be getting ready to move into our, fourth game for the day? Yeah, we are going to be heading over into Erangel yet again. Looking at a few of the plays that we've had so far, the overall standings that we've had throughout the day for the first 3 matches. And yeah, I think Nexary, the performance that we saw from them in this last match was actually a good turnaround, right? Game 1, Game 2, not necessarily having the craziest amount of points that they were able to secure, bringing that to the foreground. And then game number 3, they just locked in, dialed in, and went overboard with regards to those points. But so far, E-Arena has actually been the most consistent team that we've been seeing here today.
Yes.
So I would not be surprised if they look to keep that trend going into the 4th game yet again. But the big question is are we going to have the other squads now start to wake up a little bit more so, right? Like Salcom Digi Alliance, are we going to see them now just choosing violence, popping off a little bit? Will we see 4 Thrives again stepping up, bringing in a little bit of a surprise here? Or are we going to have another match 3 happening for them?
Oh my god. Please be the destructive one. Whatever they're doing, whichever team is doing, please go on the destructive side. I want them to choose a violence today for just a single day, because it's just a one day, and violence kind of solves everything. E-Arena has shown us this kind of like a gameplay that violence solves everything. Get 17 elimination in a single match. Make sure you're on the top of the leaderboard the very next game. And that's what they have done. But aside from that, yeah, some of the teams do need to step up. Like 4 Thrives being one of them, I have to say they're still on the second chart. Every team that is on the second chart, in fact, they need to step up. They need to start like accumulating more and more points. The strategy of the aggression that was not working for them, they have to change that, and they have to like start getting into somewhat of the safer side, a safer like approach against all of the different teams, all of the different names, and whatever they're doing, they have to change that.
Another team that I think that also I liked a little bit of a change up that they brought through was going to be that from Voin Donkey, right? They were actually being a little bit of a trouble for a lot of the teams coming through from that northern side, right? Just utilizing the terrain and sneaking into Los Leones. So it was quite satisfying to see them actually looking to play that angle, looking to play a little bit of leverage down onto the squads. Alpha 7, I sincerely thought that they were going to just pop off and go absolutely crazy. Yes, they were able to secure themselves 7 points, but they weren't able to finish with those placement points in hand either. So maybe they can look to bring a little bit of that change coming into Erangel, which we should be getting to very soon.
Yeah, we should be getting into the 4th match of the Erangel very, very soon. It's not going to take us much time like it did in the previous match. And there we go. In fact, as we said it, we are in the game, ladies and gentlemen. From Primorx all the way up to Severny, the plane line goes. A Western side favored. Plane line this time around. Gutka, Hospital, Georgia Pool, Pachinki, all of these areas that was contested into the previous match. It's once again contested. And I think it's almost the same plane line as the previous one. Okay, it was going from the military base over towards the Georgia Pool Xarxi region, but this time we're starting from the Primorx all the way up to the Severny.
You know, sometimes a change is as good as a holiday, so let's see what kind of party we'll have coming through on this one. Of course, waiting in anticipation to see what that zone is going to be bringing. The last Erangel that we had was a very northern zone with a big chunk of that all the way out in that blue as well. So where will the teams have to rotate towards this time around? Are we going to head up in the direction of Yasnaya Poliana? Going for a city finish again? Maybe go in for a bit of a military island finish? Or are we going to go smack center? We'll find out very soon as the zone is about to reveal itself. We're waiting in anticipation to see what that's going to be bringing in. I'm not seeing any crazy hot drops. We do have 4 Thrives and Kinotrope in very close proximity to each other over towards that western bridge. But other than that, ooh, we have a western zone.
Okay, one thing from this circle is that, okay, majority of the teams will have a decent chance, but 4 Thrives, once again, going into the same vicinity of the wrangled matches that they went into the previous one as well. So that's basically their hot drop. That's basically their drop location. But Kinotrope, for some reason, they not only just took the car, but they're also going into the military base side. They're going to get their loot at that position. On the other side, if we're talking about talent, one player, Akul, he's going to get the car straight up near the faces of ASI8, and they're just going to get out of there. Yeet that car out of that position. Talent Esports, all 4 players, everyone almost have a different car for themselves. Everyone has a different vehicle going into the Yasnaya Poliana. This is just a start. The circle has already taken the shift. You only have this 1 minute and 30 seconds to get your arsenal, get your loot as much as you can. And then after that, the zone closing in a minute or 2 for yourself. After that, you have to make sure that you're in that radius of the circle. 15 teams have joined in this match so far. And within the 3 minutes marker so far, there's no aggression. But wait a second. Why are you using Akaban just completely spamming into the random area?
Yeah, maybe they saw Shadow they didn't like all too much. You know, just trying to scare it away or something. Just shouting at it, going, not today. But yeah, for the time being, Talon, there's nobody here. They have this whole entire place to themselves, which in contrast to what we had in the previous Erangel is nice. It's a good bit of a change. Of course, this is where we finished the previous Erangel, for those of you who weren't here to see. In the meanwhile, E-Arena starting it off very quiet, right? Usually they're popping off, going crazy, just, you know, tackling opponents all over the place. For now, they're making sure that they probably met it up. They've got everything they need, so they can ensure their survival into those later few stages. But of course, we did see a few other squads just towards the north here as well. So they're not completely alone. They do have a little bit of company. And of course, we did also have the players from Alpha 7 dropping to that North George area. So I'm expecting maybe Alpha 7 to come rotating down a little bit earlier on.
I mean, this is just the start of the game, and because it hasn't been on the aggressive side like the previous games, the first 3 previous games, I think from this match onward, we might see some survival instincts coming from the teams, from the players, and they might not get into those fights that they would have usually taken. But Sem9 so far, not only the school main building, but also the compounds. For them, just a solo guy into the main building. Yumiko, it is a level 3 vest, in fact, level 2 helmet, gun arsenal completely done and dusted. Thick 6 on top of that. And this early on into the game, it's a great start. It's a great start for Sem9, but they have to utilize their gun powers against the teams. The more you're going to stay away from the fight, the more it's going to be difficult at the end stages for you to like accumulate more and more points to get into the fights where everything is going to go chaotic. You're not going to be able to make it up with your speed and your reflexes like you would usually if you're taking the fights from early on stages. Nexori is another name. Near the hospital outskirts at the western side city of the Georgia Pool, getting the loot, the arsenal. So far, it is only luck that I can see into the minimap. So, meaning the rest of this team, they might be on a different position, but which position are they on? This is a big question because not even into the remote close proximity, I'm seeing any name pop up.
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll find out once we see that feed starting to light up with chaos, carnage, and mayhem. In the meanwhile, Voin Donkey all the way over in towards Primorsk. A fortunate place here for them. They can go about getting their loot. We don't really see any other teams or squads within their area. Ooh, EA, or E-Arena rather, are going to be starting their day against the side of Alpha 7. Already packing in quite a bit of a bunch to their players. Still looking pretty good with regards to those HP bars. Alpha 7 now just off in the distance, trying to hold on with what they have left, and that is only 2, right? They got Mafioso, and then, of course, they've got Squash Boo. Now, we've seen what those 2 players can do just in the previous match. Are they going to be able to continue, right? E-Arena, the absolute dominators so far here today, showing up with aggression, choosing to go pick a fight with every team they can find. They've got their eyes set now on Alpha 7.
They do. Alpha 7 is on the receiving end so far, as Arena secures 2 of their players' elimination, meaning that this momentum that Arena has started to gain for themselves again, even in this match, they're only making it more and more difficult for the other teams to like actually contest that top position against them, or even like contest against the other team, because they're taking the majority of the points, even the head-on early points for themselves. And if it stays like this, it's definitely going to like hinder some of the performance for some of the teams. But there we go, 1 knockdown has also been done from the Alpha 7 side. The close quarter player Turny K, he's on his knees. Squash Boo throwing all the utilities that he can possibly can, but oh my god, our receiving and utility, that's a lot of damage going on Squash Boo, coming back to his own team members. The rest of the teams of E-Arena, they will be slowly approaching the situation, assessing it up. Someone needs to get that revival done on towards the Turny K. Mafioso in the back lines, closing on, taking the fight. There we go, the second one of E-Arena. NC2 is right now knocked out. Someone is going from the Alpha 7 Mafioso to get that elimination done, but that grenade actually manages to take down the knocked out player into the confirmation. Now Mafioso, for some reason, his own team members want to ram him down with the car, but there we go. They're actually going to utilize this opportunity, take a 1v3 on the Squash Boo side, and one last elimination on Mafioso makes it up to 4. E-Arena, the top contender team, now with just 2 eliminations to their name, is the first one to get eliminated.
Yep, that was Alpha 7 with a bit of a flex, showing that you don't need that many players to get some pretty decent elim points on board. And here we go now, as Voin Donkey is going to be targeting, or get targeted by, Fourth Thrives here. Here we go. Voin looking pretty battered and bruised, but that is not going to matter as they step up and send Fourth Thrives right back from whence they came, aka the lobby. DRX, good look to capitalize also on a bit of an opportunity here, all the way over in towards Katka. DRX just moving on in towards Boom, and the hits are just lining up one after the other. But they're not alone, because Nexory is here as well. And now Demo getting dropped to their knees. It's up to Lucky to see if they can hold nice and steady. Nia is just going to peek all over the place, trying to line up those sides. Unfortunately, the reinforcements have arrived, but they've not arrived for Champion Esports, as they will be the next team getting sent away, rather.
Oh my god, that's where the aggression is coming from. It's a chain reaction. The lobby sees, okay, 1 team eliminated, let's go. Let's get some more action done. DRX being one of the team that is right now close to the area where they have to take the fights and everything. But Boom Esports and Nexory, the 2 different teams against each other right now, getting those knockdowns, getting those eliminations. 2 eliminations for Nexory, but so far, Boom Esports, they also have the 2 eliminations. But Apex, no, the player that got the winner chicken dinner from the last match, that secured it up, he has finally been eliminated, meaning the backbone almost of Nexori has finally been squashed away. So the rest of the three players, they have to devise something, devise a strategy, or go with that aggressive stances like their own team member Apex has done into the previous match against all of these players to get this party started. Luck so far, he's trying to climb this truck. No luck whatsoever. Come on, the player needs to go forward, but the grenades are coming, the damage is happening, and boom, Mastery is here, getting a player knocked down. The second one goes over, as well as Nexori is down to the very last guy, and Boom Esports comes in with the clutch, eliminating the name of Nexori back to the lobby. Number 12, they go out.
What a play we've now witnessed as well, Boom just going absolutely crazy, keeping true to the name. And just coming in with those big booms. But they are not out of the woods just yet, as we can see a few teams just going to be riding over towards the edge of that ridge. There's going to be Alpha 7 as well as DRX. Talents, though, going to be coming in with a little bit more of a northern rotation. And then, of course, ASI 8 now looking to occupy smack dab center zone.
Trying their level best, I have to say. They are doing their level best at this point in time. They have the centralized position of the circle. They're not gonna make too much fuss about it. They're gonna just chill out there, chill, stay, maybe take even a fight or two against maybe Alpha 7 as they're rotating close to their location. So they might be spraying down on them, making at least one player fall off their Sem9 onto the southern angle where they can take the fight against the the Xaviers. There's Selcom Diggy Alliance near the Wine Donkeys outside of the safe zone area, maybe actually getting into the fight as well. And all of these names, Selcom is another name that is on the second page, and they need to step up. They need to start aggressing on all of these players, all of these different teams, if they want to even secure a decent number of points as well for themselves. Because if they don't, somebody else is definitely gonna come, approach the situation, is gonna take that opportunity away from them. You only have the opportunity in your own hands to get those eliminations, to get those winner chicken dinner. You have to make sure that you're doing a very calculative game, a very precise game of how many points that you need and how well are you going to do against this specific team at this point in time. Alpha 7 losing another player, that's Mafioso, meaning Squash Boo, the last guy, is remaining for the team. And from what I can see, maybe ASI is the culprit to take down Mafioso at this point in time, or was that a different team?
Well, we'll find out. It is going to be Alpha 7 Mafioso currently down on their knees. It is going to be Squash Brew looking to defend, not quite seeing them being able to come through with much of a play at this point. Selcom Diggy Alliance going to be looking to reach in onto the side here of DRX. Nia now trying to make a break for it. Opting for a little bit more of an western positioning. But I think for Alliance, this is a decent reach to have, as we have still a few teams looking to get themselves mobilized and moved up. Looking for their spot, moving into this next phase. DX Xavier getting out of the cars now. It's going to be Leon that is going to be experiencing a lot of difficulty here as the shots continue to rain on down. It is going to be numbers now from Xavier trying to clear up that charge line, as the Xavier pushes further and further on towards the western front. But as we've seen, Alliance, they have an MG3. So you want to be very, very careful. Don't want to risk it unnecessarily so.
It's super risky at this point. Every team is at risk. Look at DRX. They're just barely surviving. 7 total points. 4 thrives. They have been eliminated. Selcom Diggy Alliance, Kinotrope, less than 10 points. These are the names up until top 12 with less than 10 points. Going into the 11th, Talon Esports, they have 14, DX 18, and One Donkey just secured 20 points after the first 4 elimination that they have into their name in this match. Talon Esports so far closing in near the Gutka region. Now moving forward, let's see, Shield is here. Into the compound, close to the proximity, is going to be ASI 8. There's Sem 9. So any one of these teams that is actually going to get into the fight, the third one may come in as a party takers, as the party poopers for the other teams at that point in time. So be very careful on who you contest with, who you engage with, and how you're going to utilize your compartments, your locations to take even that aggressive stance. But so far, I kind of want to see Sem9. They have the 6th elimination. They did really good. They took a really good start in this match at the very least. ASI8, yeah, they're kind of closed into the area, but they're not taking the fight. They're waiting for the circles to be made. Stage number 4 it is, and we're in top 11, meaning these top 11 teams, if the stage number 5 commences, stage number 5 closes down, and the circle goes to a very stalemate location, you will not have enough covers for yourself. Already, this is Gutkar region. It is a majority of the area completely open with barely having the tall grasses and those rocks for your cover.
Let's see if those rocks for coverage is going to be able to benefit anybody at this point, as there's still a lot of rotating coming through here. It is going to be A1 looking to maybe find a little slice of that action or a good position to move in towards, as they still have quite a bit of ground to try and cover here. Donkey also just slowly but steadily moving in onto this eastern edge of the zone. Again, not looking too aggressive with how they're moving up, just ensuring that they don't have to be too stressed about that blue zone. In the meantime, it's A1, A7, having a bit of a countdown play going through. We're not quite sure if Squash Brew is going to be able to get out of this one in one piece. A1 rather, looking like they mean business. They are here to have a party. They've not yet had any eliminations, but it is going to be Squash Brew that will break the ice for them.
It is him. He gets eliminated, and with this, Alpha 7 out of the game as well. Cellcom, in the meanwhile, we did see them take some fights, take some knockouts, and those aggressive stances, as well as one elimination to the name of Cellcom Digi Alliance without the casualty. It's a great start. It's a start, but not that much of a great one for them. I'm not sure if it's a great one or not, but in general, it's not. Kinotrope in the front lines outside of the blue zone, taking that damage, trying to shoot at Cellcom Digi Alliance on top of that. What is Kinotrope is doing? Even though they're on a solo player, they're still not backing away from the fight. When Donkeys is in the closed area as well, close line to the side of the Cellcom Digi Alliance. If they want to, they can also engage this fight. But look at Warren Donkeys. They got a shot. They got a lot of damage on them. Kinotrope gets eliminated on the hashtag number 10. They go with one elimination, but no placement point whatsoever. Top 9 it is, ladies and gentlemen, with 29 players remaining. Sem9, ASI 8, and Cellcom Digi Alliance alongside of Talon and DX are the only names with full squads. Boom Esports staying outside right now of the safe zone area. Sem9 somewhat, but I'm not sure why is Fyron so far away from the team. This is not the way to go. If you're even trying to scout out the locations, you're supposed to scout inside the circle, not outside. Not in this kind of a location where if you're not careful, there's a team in the front line like Xavier that can potentially take you down. On the backside, boom, they can take you down as well.
It's difficult to answer that question, but, maybe Fyron is maybe feeling a bit hungry as they're making their way through Chopsticks. I mean, I can see how that would be enticing, but hey, Boom is also just a little bit further west of that, so there could be an opportunity for a bit of a setup to be played there. Sem9 now fully committing to getting themselves rather situated right here in Chopsticks as Potato now gets picked on up. That is Voin Donkey out of here. Down to the final 8 teams we go. Boom now starting to commit to their positioning as well. DRX going to be joined in the lobby. But let's see whether or not Mastery and Zero can get themselves securely dipped into this bowl as they move up. Can't really see much heading in the direction there of Sem9. Cellcom Digi Alliance also going to be the next team to join, as we are now left with 6 squads remaining. Talon still going to be looking pretty confident up on towards the northern edge of the zone. But ASI 8, though, I mean, they've not taken any damage so far from what we can see. Those HP bars still looking pretty good. They might be cooking up a bit of a storm. as they are now occupying the eastern side of zone, but also still somewhat removed, as is A1 Esports.
It is top 5. And majority of the teams, they have the full squads. Yeah, they are kind of kill hungry at this point in time. Talon being one of them, trying to take down the team Boom Esports altogether. With the throwables, they're not going to have any kind of connections onto the Boom so far. But Zero, he's also here for those eliminations as well. He's definitely going to take at least a 1 with him. And if anyone gets a knockdown through his hand, oh, be very careful. You're definitely getting a fully finished up in the second that you're going to get knocked out. But Yumiko, so far, in the chopsticks as well, waiting for the opportunity. Talon in the front lines, not making that move, not coming out completely into the open. Yes, they are coming out in the open, but just for the fact that you're trying to throw the utilities, trying to throw the grenades, but that is actually giving your location to the other team, to the other players into the proximity. But Shields now finally coming in there, so not one, that's 2 players coming on. Boom is taking the fight, but not even a single connectivity coming up. It's over for Boom Esports on the number 5. Top 4 we go. Every single name is a full squad.
Now, this is the kind of party I'd love to be part of, as we can see the Xavier. They are the team locked in onto that southern position. But they're not alone, because they got Sem9 also kind of sharing the area with them here. Interesting, though, that Talon are outside of the zone as they start with a rotation. Going to try and squeeze up into that northeastern side, but this will be a golden opportunity now for the squad there of ASI8 to spot them out and really focus in. Well, they're going to have to beat the side of Sem9 to that fight if they want to get this job done. Yumiko, as you've said numerous times before, an absolute beast when it comes to these plays. So let's see how this one pans out for them.
I mean, it's 4 versus 4 versus 4 versus 4. Everybody has their own location. Everybody has their own advantages, position, a safe side location for themselves. So it's all a matter of factor of time and the circle shift. Because this is the stage number 6, nobody's going to be like taking that much of the over-extensive hands or the momentums. So we just have to wait for the circle to actually force the teams into the oblivion, into getting out in the total open. Then the fights are going to start. Whosoever is going to have the next circle, in fact, for themselves, they're going to be on an easy entry and easy elimination numbers. They're definitely going to have some decent points for themselves at the very least. But so far, what we are seeing, Talon Esports cooking those smokes, those grenades, throwing it up towards the Sem9's position, but nobody's getting shot. Nobody's getting that hit with that grenades, even though they're very, very cautious. Talon Esports actually wants to push together against Team Sem9. They want to make sure that they're getting those eliminations, but a grenade comes in. Boyza gets knocked down, and right with this, Talon Esports, they are definitely going to lose their player. Boyza gets a finisher and a cull. He's low. A grenade comes over. He finally pushes forward. The DBS connects on one player, at the very least, instantly getting a knockdown on himself as well. Axel Shield, the only 2 players. Shield gets a knockdown with the grenade as well. And slowly and steadily, Axel comes into the play, in which case, Sem9 makes sure to make short work of the same guy as well, making every one of the players obliteration, getting that obliteration on them. It's over. Sem9 having 4 more eliminations with a total of 11 in their hand.
As quickly as they arrived, they left as well. Now it's going to be the Xavier still holding onto that southern side. We did see ASI8 now focusing all their efforts down onto Sem9 as they move in quite aggressively, applying a very similar strategy to what we saw A1 doing all the way back in our first Erangel of the day. But now, ASI8 look to get control of the zone. Casanova cooking up a few nades. Part of the welcoming committee as DX now comes rushing in. 1 down, but that is not going to carry over into more. As the rest of the utilities now come through, that is going to be Chow getting taken right on down. It is up to numbers.
Oh my god.
And nade to see if they can survive the onslaught. ASI8 very quick with the reaction here, just turning themselves nearly in their tracks, as there's now 1 player standing between them and control of the northern side of zone. But there we have it. DX Xavier done and dusted. Out they go. And actually, ASI8 still have a 3-piece left, but they're going to have to be really quick on the reses because Sem9 wants a slice of the action.
Oh, they're definitely gonna come in. They know that there's a lot of casualties going around. Crypto with the 5 grenades now, waiting for the opportunity. But Sem9 is finally gonna deploy all of their utilities, the arsenal that they have, into the same compound where Aaron and Josefa is residing right now. But Firen is gonna get taken down. Oh no! The situation has gone to a 3 versus 3. The grenade goes over. Yuhai gets a lot of damage. Another one from the hand of Crypto is gonna go in the Harry Potter tower. But no, on the backside, he gets a lot of damage on the player, but he's finally gonna heal himself. Back to the 75. The compound, the door opened up, it closed again. The Molotov will definitely do a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. It may be coming around for Yuhai, but he's surviving. He's alive. He is still there with the full HP that he healed himself into. Back to the outskirts he goes. Player Trexy, in fact, has been spotted. The spray is definitely going to go there. Iron is finally going to get a knockdown. It's a 2 versus 3 now from this point onwards. Sem9 down to the last 2. Yuhai, Yumiko. But Yumiko, as being still alive, there's still hope for the Sem9. But no, come on! Me and my big mouth. The moment I name Yumiko, Yumiko gets taken down. It's Yuhai all alone against all of these 3 elimination-hungry players of the team ASI8. The shotgun is going to connect. The second shotgun is going to connect. The third player is in the front line. Crypto gets a lot of damage. Oh my god. This can be a potential 1v3, but finally the player is actually going to go eliminate all of those players. Heal himself, make Crypto come towards him. 4 bullets. 4 bullets. You only have this one chance of securing those eliminations. That the players coming from the left side. You're also right in front of the players. Back to the 14 bullets. Back to the 14 bullets on both of these players. Healing on its way. Flashbang being thrown as well, but if that gets finished off as well, it's potentially a 1 versus 1. ASI, if they win, they get 10 elimination. If Sem9 wins, they get 14 eliminations for their side. The smoke goes over on one direction, making sure that the view is blocked. And from the front lines, Crypto gets the shot connected. Sem9 out of the match. ASI with the winner chicken dinner of the match number 4 for themselves. 20 points into the play.
I mean, Crypto got tired of running around that wizard tower and decided it was time for a little bit of magic. Spotted the opportunity through the window and ended the match right there. What a play, though. ASI8 coming out of, well, that eastern side, hitting so hard and locking in a victorious winner chicken dinner. Absolutely amazing stuff. You said that they were going to end on 10 eliminations, I believe that was. But what a play. Both our teams in the final 2 finishing strong, coming in with some pretty aggressive performances right here. But I think the big turning point for ASI8 here was when they were kind of defending the edge positioning, right? Right when DX were kind of moving up onto the edge of the compound, trying to make their breach into that. And they just said, you know what, thank you so much for coming, but how about no? And instead, they just absolutely decimated them, took them down. Sem9 tried to capitalize on a very cheeky moment, but they couldn't live to tell the tale.
They definitely couldn't. They definitely couldn't. They were so close. They were so close, but suddenly they were so far away from the winner chicken dinner. But aside from that, going into the MVP, it is Yuhai, ladies and gentlemen. 7 elimination. 810 damage, 25 minutes. This match went on for 26 minutes at the very least. And out of that, 7 eliminations to the single guy of the Sem9. Even though they couldn't get the chicken dinner, they were super close. They still managed to name themselves into the MVP ranking at the very least. Match number 4, on the other hand, on the contrary, is done and dusted, meaning we're only down to the last 2 matches. The match ranking going on 20 points for ASI, but Sem9. They're like, we don't need that chicken dinner. We're still close to you on that total points. 19 for them with 13 elimination. Talon, 10 points, 7 for Boom, 6 for D Xavier, 5 for A1 alongside of One Donkey, Cellcom Digi Alliance, 4 points alongside of DRX and Alpha 7 Esports. Nexori, E-Arena, 2 points. Kinartro, 4 thrives with only 1. And Champions, they were the first victims of this aggression in Erangel.
This is a little bit troubling looking at the overall performance that we saw coming through from 4 Thrives in this past match. But we'll get to that once we get to the second page. Here we are looking at the first page for the overall standings. As you can see, there is quite a bit of a gap now being created by our top 3 teams. 45, 40, and 36 points. I mean, Broom Esports, they're going to have to find quite a bit of an impact if they want to regain a little bit of that territory. Already moving up 1 point, which is not 1 slot rather, which is not bad for them. But Sem9 climbing 4 up into second place. The Xavier as well as Talon also with a beautiful upward trend. Nexury, as I said, they didn't have a good game so far in this last match, only walking away with 2 points. The same can be said there for E-Arena, and as a result, they are going to be heading a little bit further down the overall standings. Same could be happening on the side there for Champions, but Talon, the Xavier, A1, Boom, Sem9, and ASI8 doing phenomenal work as they've now just looked to solidify their overall positioning here. Taking a look at the second page, this is where it gets a little bit troubling, right? 4 Thrives for 2 games now. They've not been able to secure good points. Right, hitting low figures.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to find something as they come into our final Murmur of the day. Because that's what's coming up next. Game number 5 is going to be the last opportunity on Murmur for 4 Thrives to secure points and potentially contest for the top 4. The longer they wait, the more challenging it is going to be to gain that entry.
I mean, this is the time for the bottom line teams to actually start going fully aggressive on every single one of the teams, even though you're not able to like secure those points for yourself into a slow and cautious gameplay. Why not try? Why not just try to go for an aggressive stance, try to get as many points as you can in the early stages? Because if the survival is not working for you, maybe the aggression will, maybe a different approach will. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, before heading into the match number 5, we will be going into a short break segment. Stay here, stay connected with us, and enjoy the highlights.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to move into game number 5. Of course, this is going to be our final Miramar to see who will be locked into the top 9. Only 9 teams will move through into the grand final. So this is that last opportunity. If you enjoy playing on the map of Miramar, this is your game. This is the opportunity, the angle, the chance, and I'm not quite sure why I said angle, but hey, we'll go with it, for the teams to do what they need to do to secure the points. And of course, time is running out. So for the teams situated a little bit further down the overall standings, coming in with not necessarily a high tally of points, they got to try and bag whatever they can. And I mean, currently the difference between 9th and 10th place is none, right? Both teams are sitting on 23 points apiece. So if you're Champions Esports, you're going to be a little bit stressed because, I mean, you can get overtaken by Alpha 7 at any point in this next game.
I mean, these 2 games, the next 2 games, they're super crucial, no matter how you look at it. From this point onward, the bottom line teams, they can use the strategy of completely going like on the aggressive stance. They can completely go and decimate the lobby. They will have nothing to lose, but have everything to gain at this point in time. Getting into the top 9 is the only goal for these teams today, for the single day of the action. So whatever they're doing, if it's not working, try changing it up. Try cranking the violence a little bit, because violence will solve everything at this point. You need those crucial elimination points, because just the chicken dinner alone, even if you survive, get the chicken dinner, it's not going to help you. It's not going to get you into the top 9. You need that violent number of elimination, like 10, maybe 10, 12, 15 eliminations, like Irina did with a single match from the very bottom of the page. They managed to secure themselves into the first chart at a very, very high pace in time. But yes, this is the match number 5, the second last match of the survival side of the final chance, final chance survival. So whatever these teams are doing, they have to crank that aggression, that strategy up a notch to 100% from this point onward, because there is no room for whatsoever mistake. You have already mentioned that number 9 and number 10, they are absolutely on the same equal points. At any point in time, a single wrong move will mean that number 10 will go into the number 9, maybe number 9 will go into the 10, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, so, and that trend continues up the board, right? Because we've got 2 teams on 23, 2 teams on 24, 2 teams on 25 points. So there's a lot riding on these last 2 games, right? So if A1, Nexry, DXavier, Talon, Champion Esports, and Alpha 7 want to be in the top 9, they can, but it's going to cause a very hairy engagement between all the involved teams. And of course, speaking about which, it is time to go, as we'll be making our way over on towards Miramar, taking a look at the flight path, starting us up in the north, close to El Pozo, and heading all the way down just to the edge there of Los Higos. So somewhat of a slightly restricted flight path here for the teams, especially if they want to go to places like Torre Ahumada, Cruz del Valle, even El Azhar, right? It is going to be a little bit more of a challenging rotation, and I could see a few teams potentially maybe fighting over the vehicles available down below.
I mean, yeah, you can go for that aggressive in this, because I think it's almost the same plane line as the last one, because it was going from Los Higos up to the top near the local area. Now it's going from the trailer park all the way down to the Los Higos angle. So the teams are kind of in a position where they do need to like go for the aggressive stances, but the circle first of all is going to determine whether you're going to stay in your like territorial areas, the plane line areas, or you're going to have to take a very long detour, find cars, get into the circle, take the fights alongside of the way, and that kind of stuff. DRX changing their placements, like one player is a solo, Big Papa going near the Void Donkeys, the rest of the teams you can see that, but oh my goodness, the circle, it's going to be hard for these teams right here going into the area of the eastern corner.
Yeah, well, eastern corner is not necessarily a bad one, especially when you're looking at circles, right? Because every corner in a circle is very well rounded. and that helps quite a bit, right? So I think it's the best thing if you're getting chased, just run into the corner, and then they won't get trapped because, well, circles don't have corners. But we do see quite a bit of action already right out of the gate, as well, Gayan already lost 2 of their players, right? So, yeah, a very aggressive start here onto the side of Kinotrope. Not quite sure what that was, but they did find themselves, I'd say, in a little bit of a hot and sticky situation. Speaking about hot and sticky, Via Del Mar is where it will continue as Champions Esport. As I said, the gatekeepers of the top 9 now look to defend their overall position already with 3 eliminations on the board. Could they find the 4th? Will they get the full squad wipe at the expense here of Kinotrope?
Kinotrope in the front lines. That's 3 down, the last 1 to go, and there goes the Uzi. Gets the final nail in the coffin. Getting into the car, making it a super one, and finally getting their hands on the first full team elimination. Champions without the casualty, getting that elimination definitely is going to help them, because not only they're in the top 5 right now, it's going to help them secure some more points, stay in this match in the top 9, at least for this match from this point onward. But aside from that, going to Nexori. Nexori is another team closer to the overall ranking of the champions. 25 with 1 elimination. There we go. Demo OG in the front lines against Sem9. The damage is being done. Demo OG healing himself. A grenade is being cooked, and this one is definitely going to connect. The player gets a knockdown, and Demo OG, with this from the Nexori, is receiving a heavy casualties. Now, it's only the last guy of the Nexori's player that's giving that revive. Okay, there we go. Luck has finally been revived. He has finally been rejuvenated. But Baga, O-double-line-O, let's see. First grenade, then a Uzi spray. No connection. 21 bullets only on this UMP-45. Gets a 1 knockdown on Trexy. Gets the damage done upon on the players. The shotguns, the M4s are not working. He gets the knife out, but no! Misses that. A knife connection just by a bit. Now, come on. Go forward. Get that final nail in the coffin. Use the other gun, but the backside spray comes into the play, and Sem9 gets those eliminations for themselves, and no casualty whatsoever.
I mean, what a step up this was by Sem9. Absolutely crazy. Nexori thought they could have this one maybe in the bag. I was almost convinced that that knife stab was going to work, but unfortunately, it didn't really pan out the way that they would have hoped. Now, 4 Thrives also right here in exactly the same spot up in towards Monte Nuevo. How will this go? I don't know if Sem9 is even aware that one of 4 Thrives players are still alive, still holding steady. You got to give it up to Sem9, though. The overall coverage and support that they've been showing for their teammates here, absolutely amazing, right? Just so on point here with the performance. Let's see. Are they going to be able to find it, though? I mean, if they score 1 more elimination, that would put them currently up in pole position, which is occupied by ASI 8. Now, Sem9 doing their due diligence, clearing out every single building. Maybe they'll be able to find the final 4 Thrive player here, but we don't quite know.
We don't quite know yet. We don't know what's going to happen, who's going to have those elimination and points. It's the solo guy of the 4 Thrives, but Sem9 in the front lines. They just took down a full-fledged team of Nexori at this particular location, but still, 4 Thrives is just chilling. Nobody knows their location, and this is definitely going to be one of the situations where you're going to have a very big surprise that, okay, you were here. I did not see you at that point in time, and that's exactly what's going to happen. He misses the shot. No! He misses the first shot. He misses that crucial connection that would have been demise of at least one player of the Sem9, but now Sem9 knows exactly where the enemy is, where the players are. The grenade is going to go. It's going to take 4 Thrives out right there, and then on hashtag number 13, 4 Thrives has finally been thrown back to the lobby and back to the very bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's not a nice place to be. It's not a nice place to be. I definitely was expecting 4 Thrive to at least finish much further up on those standings. but it's all going to come down to one match. Are they going to be able to get a winner chicken dinner in the final game? Well, it's to be seen. If they do, there might still be a slight glimmer of hope for them. In the meanwhile, it is going to be E-Arena now frantically searching to see if they can find ASI8. I mean, currently, there's only a few points standing between both these squads. 7 points to be exact. Now the timer is ticking. Casanova waiting steadily, can hear all the footsteps around them. Not going to be looking to move just yet, but there could be quite a bit of a saving grace here now with the Salcom Diggy Alliance sneaking on in. This could be quite a bit of an opener. As long as ASI8 keep themselves quiet, this distraction could actually buy them quite a bit of time.
That definitely can. That distraction can buy them a slight bit of time, but the main question still remains: will ASI8 stay quiet? This is the big chance. This is a big question. But Arena, so far, with 3 eliminations to their name, they're close to the fight, but not taking it whatsoever. So come to the Alliance. They want to push, they want to aggress, but look at his Zephyr into the backside. He can do a third party on these players. But Joker, he's low. He did a lot. He got a lot of damage. ASK Casanova from the backside comes in, takes down one of the Arena's players. Turney K gets finished off in an instant. Joker now looking up on the top. He sees the foot of a Celcom Digi Alliance's tryout. He's a player, but NC2 moving forward, sprays on ASI8. There's a lot of damage already being done on the player. You just need to go. You just need to get one more bullet connection. That's going to be enough. That's going to be it. But E-Arena is also down to the very last guy. Now he's going to take the KM. He's going to get that shot connected. Casanova gets a knockdown. It's a confirmation. And with this, ASI8 is going to lose one of their players. But Celcom Digi Alliance, I have to give it to them. This gives them enough momentum to come forward, take all the players that are knocked down of the E-Arena, get them fully finished up. And slowly and steadily, you can make your way to the rest of the players of the NC2 and the ASI as well.
Yeah, realistically, there's an opportunity for all the teams still alive that are not within the top 9, right? DRX, if they play a beautiful game, they could really look to catapult themselves up, but it does seem like Salcom Digi Alliance are going to be trying exactly that. As we can see, they came into this match with 13 points, and already adding 1 additional elimination to their tally. Gotta watch out for these sprays, though. It's going to be NC2 now, just patiently awaiting some kind of a result. Fortunately for them, Salcom Digi Alliance is in the wrong building, so they will manage to hold on a little while longer. So a decent spread across the board, though. It's going to be more than the next one to fall. So E-Arena losing players left, right, and center. We've got another squad now rolling up as well. And the carnage is not going to stop anytime soon. I think that is C1. Yep, that is C1 that we have way off in the distance now, starting to encroach the zone rather, not the zone. I don't know what the zone is, Torix, but the zone definitely has moved a little bit further up on towards the north. Maybe they'll go zooming into the zone. That's probably where I was taking that one.
I mean, I do want to see the zone as well, because all of these teams right now, Arena, ASI, the champions, everybody's outside the circle right now. They're taking the blue damage, but look at the kill feed. Boom Esports, A1 Esports, taking the fight. And on top of that, not only they're taking the fight, they're actually inside that circle. Boom is going to lose one of the players, but staying on the top 4 that they are, it's an easy, I'd say, qualification for them if they just stay consistent in the very least. But ERK for ST, he finally gets a knockdown. It's a confirmation to the champions' player. 966, he's on the domination. Celcom Digi Alliance finally stepping up, I have to say, with 3 eliminations so far to their name. It's a slow and steady start for this team, but you have to make sure that even if you're on the 12 right now, you make enough points to secure the top 9 at least in this game, so you can actually hope to know how many points you need to constantly secure for yourself to get that decent number of placements. to be into the top 9 even after the 6th match whatsoever. But the circle, it has gone to the northern side. It's a barren land. DK, this is a barren land. This is the high probability, high elimination land where everyone's going to be super out in the open, and anyone who spots someone, it's an instant elimination of that single guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough one, especially looking at the angles that we saw coming through there from Boyne Donkey. Beautiful elevation that they have to leverage, but we'll find out soon whether or not that is going to bode well for them. In the meanwhile, it is going to be a little bit of that blue juice party happening here, right? 3 squads holding out ASI8, E Arena, and then, of course, Cellcom Digi Alliance. All of them being quite reluctant to rotate up so far. Now, it's going to be D Xavier, the next team, to get taken out of here. Alpha 7 locking in the points. As I mentioned before, they were one of those contenders to kind of be the gatekeepers or the deciders for the top 9. Currently, well within the 6th position. So there's 4 eliminations going a long, long way so far. Pressure is on, though. Point Donkey, 21 points, sitting in 11th. They're going to have to do something over here. And there we have it. It is going to be Champions Esports now, looking to rush on forward, locking in yet another elimination. Now currently up to 6. And they could be knocking on the doors of doom or boom here.
Oh my god, this is not looking good whatsoever. No way. But yeah, 6 elimination to the champions. Cellcom Digi Alliance in the front line, the solo player, they were so good. They were doing so good, and suddenly, not anymore. Cellcom Digi Alliance gets eliminated by Atomic's IAM's Atomic Grenade. A beautiful elimination right there, but ASI8, they still want to contest. They still want to take the fight against the single guy. And being on the clothesline area, look at that. It's a face-to-face fight. The S12K, the DBS, it's going to win it our. Atomic is not only just going to take Cellcom Digi Alliance out of this proximity, but also ASI8. Top 9 it is, ladies and gentlemen. From this point onward, we are seeing 8 elimination for the team for the name of champions. E-Arena still staying outside of the circle. Alpha 7, who is in the circle, is also trying to take the fight in the long vicinity.
Yeah, A1 just there ahead of them now, trying to play a little bit of catch up here. They came in leading ahead of Alpha 7, but the aggression on the side of Alpha 7 has awarded them currently that 6th position. We are 1 slot away from placement point territory, so let's see who will be the next team to fall to get sent back with only their eliminations. The answer is E-Arena. 3 points. That is all they have to show for this game. But they are in 3rd place currently, so not too much to be stressed about. Champions, though, 9 eliminations up. If they get 1 more point, they'll be sitting on 34. So they still have a bit of a way to go. But this is where the placement points lend quite a bit of a helping hand. Boom Esports, they've not found anything so far for this game. Starting off with 30 points to represent. It doesn't seem like they are finding any opportunities available just yet. We are seeing champions, though. They've lost one of their players to the blue. The next one could fall very, very soon, but it is going to be Alpha 7 and Talon now starting to go at each other's throats.
I mean, yeah, this is absolutely what is happening at this point in time. We are seeing a lot of aggressions going around from this point onward. There's definitely going to be some of the momentums that the teams will be needing to take up for themselves. But so far, what I'm seeing is Talon Esports versus One Donkeys. It's happening. The shots, the connectivity, it definitely did connect. And Talon Esports is their first elimination so far, but not the very last. This is just the start for the team. Champions Esports gets eliminated on the hashtag number 8 with 9 eliminations. There's A1, Alpha 7, all these different names, all these different teams taking the fight yet again, yet against each other. And the amount of radius that the circle has to say number 4, I can already assume it's going to be super small, but judging from the number of the teams that are alive in this, okay, it's still a viable and it's still like somewhat big compared to the number. But look at the minimap. Look at the minimap. There's 3 teams into the same line, and anyone who's going to make a mistake, that player will be getting an elimination.
Well, let's see who will be the ones to bag it. DRX still have a golden opportunity available to them here. They've got 12 points up. Still a full lobby of 21 other players to contest again. So let's see what their approach will be here. So far, we've not seen much of them for this match. I don't actually even know where they are on the map. We'll find out soon. Last time we saw them, they were all the way up towards the north. For the time being, it is going to be Alpha 7 looking to apply a little bit of pressure here onto the side of A1. Also, Talon, I believe, is in the mix there as well. So Alpha 7 now continuously riding the ridgeline. Up and down they go. Revo frantically searching for any available opportunity, trying to taunt out the side there of Talon. They have received a few welcoming sprays. But is this now going to be that opportunity for Revo to call in the rest of the team as they're trying to ensure that the space is actually clear for them to move into?
I mean, one thing they have to be very picky of is the position that they're going to finally have inside of that circle, because the circle has gone to the northern side. Sem9 versus Boom Esports, and that is one thing that we're definitely going to see happen. But Alpha 7, Talon Esports, the one that is kind of closer into the area outside of the circle, that's a fight to also witness, because nobody's going to be allowing the other team, the other one, to move inside of that circle unscathed. There's also one donkeys going on to the northern areas from the very western corner, taking a long rotation. But Trexy is going to be there, and he might just hold down the fort against these players at that point in time. But Alpha 7, talking about him, Revo, so far, he has spotted down the players of the Talon. No connection, no fire whatsoever, and he's just chilling out there, just running into the open side area. But there we go, Talon Esports finally receiving some damage. They're gonna get the damage. Another one coming into the way from Revo side. No connectivity whatsoever. But still, this is the moment. I would say Alpha 7, instead of getting engaged into the fight, you have to find your way inside the circle, inside the safe zone of the circle, then start to take the fight against a different team. But One Donkeys versus Talon Esports, ladies and gentlemen. It has finally started. The shots, the fire, the aggression, it's happening right there. And then in Talon Esports, oh my god, no way. That's a lot of damage going around. Talon Esports is down to the last guy. That is Alex taking the fight, getting a lot of damage on the One Donkeys player, but not enough as the final guy right here, Gaycore, into the area, gets the nail in the coffin, even though there was one more guy, Machi. He was outside of the play zone. So there was only Gaycore alive in this vicinity that could have been the detrimental one, and he was the detrimental one. He manages to secure that elimination.
Well, so far, Point Donkey not quite out of it just yet, right? We still see a bit of an opportunity available to them as they are trying to get their players all back up on their feet. This could return them to a full 3-piece, but you got to be very cautious of that zone closure, as well as Alpha 7 just holding on the ridgeline. But now, DRX, we've eventually found them. They are locked into the compound just towards that western front. Alpha 7 getting ready to get cooking here. We've got Sem9 also up towards the north. So this is going to be an absolute chaotic showdown, as there are 4 squads now trying to vie for control of the western front. Point Donkey now almost coming under a little bit of fire there. Squash Boone not being able to lock in those sprays just yet. But you also got to watch out for that vehicle that could go up in flames. That is like a moving bomb right there. Now it's going to be Mokchi just reaching over the ridge line, working into Squash Brew. Carrillo also keeping a nice little bit of overwatch, looking to see if they can provide the necessary coverage. Revo coming in clutch all the way from up on the ridge. This could be that play now for Alpha 7 to turn the whole entire thing on its head. 8 eliminations already to their name. Right, so the jump is there. As you can see, Razak now getting absolutely picked apart. The full send is up. Gaycore, the last one left, and down they go. Voin Donkey out in 6th place. Only 4 eliminations to their name. Alpha 7 now looking pretty good here, hitting them double digits. Boom on 0. DRX on 0. And it is going to be A1 sitting with 1 elimination to their name. Sem9 going through with 6 eliminations. Still looking pretty strong with a full squad up, as we can see them now taking good occupancy of that northern territory. But how are they going to look to play through the zone? They got Yumiko just on the very edge, as we can see up on that mini-map. Sem9 yet to make any decisive rotations here. They do have a few potential angles already secured within the zone, but leaving the scouts just on the outside. For the time being, DRX are going to be looking to move through, waiting for a few potential angles now to try and capitalize on at least something. Because for the time being, there's not really all too much happening on their front. They've not had any points. The only thing that they have to capitalize on for this time is going to be placement points, but that is not going to be enough. If they want to make a play for the top 9, they're going to have to get aggressive. They're going to have to secure some elimination points. Now we wait. Nia finds a bit of an angle. Gets a bit of a spray. Sem9 now out in the blue. They're going to have to rotate up. At least that is Yumiko. The rest of the squad, as we can see, already taking a completely different approach here. DRX now starting to wake up. Had enough time to plan their strategy. Now it is time to go. They'll have to strike if they have their eyes set on a top 9 finish. Placement points could definitely go a long way for them here as well. Nia and the rest of DRX not getting the sprays that they are hoping for, but making noise is going to attract the attention here of Alpha 7. Yumiko, so just inching their way onto the side here. Boom Esports, meanwhile, getting caught over on towards that eastern side. Now could fall victim to the Sem9 spray down. You can see Yumi and the rest of the team there from Boom slowly approaching, but it is going to be somewhat of an uphill battle. No secure angles to hide in. No crazy coverage to really utilize at this point. There's going to be ridge lines to use as they move on up. 0 dipping down in the hill, down in the valley rather. But a good read coming through here from Sem9. Yumiko quick to fall back. Ooh, Pondbit just holding a steady overlook positioning. But Boom almost tempting fate a little bit here as they're just riding the ridge, continuously going back and forth. Same could be said here for Sem9, but also not necessarily getting all too aggressive just yet. But it's going to be A1, the next team to fall, as we move down to our final 4. A1 out with 1 elimination and only currently 2 squads securely positioned within the zone. It is going to be Boom as well as DRX. Alpha 7 all the way on that far southern side, getting ready to move on forward. Sem9 still very focused on the edge. I don't know if they've noticed the other players from Boom rotating up right alongside them. But we'll find out soon what the approach is. Alpha 7 are committing to their zone position as they move on in. Boom trying frantically to find a good angle. Trying to plan that approach, that assault onto the side here of Sem9. But no team wants to be the next team to fall. Alpha 7 already with 12 eliminations up. Boom are yet to secure anything. So far, this game has cost them quite a bit. They've lost one of their players and their health bars aren't looking too great. Sem9 now hungry for even more points. They don't need it, but they want it. As they get ready for the charge now, taking their approach. Up they come, starting to move. Oh, it's going to be a full send in the direction there of DRX. Boom, still quite hesitant. Now trying to keep it nice and quiet. And play that silent approach. Engaging their full stealth mode. Well, it can only be so stealthy with a vehicle rushing right on up. It is going to be a full send onto Trexie here from Sem9. The first play is in. Going for the confirmation. There we go. They are bringing points on board. Now they got to follow through. Got to keep on pushing. Not out of the woods just yet. Yumi did take quite a bit of damage. Oh, so much so that they will get knocked out if somebody coughs too loudly. And now, Boom need to try and figure out how will they make it out of this one. The blue zone is going to be applying even more pressure to them. Alpha 7 not making it any easier as they continue to push in. Zero quickly having to patch themselves up. DRX also still waiting to get a little bit of something happening here. They have though at least secured their first point. Same 9 now, potentially down to a 2-piece, unless of course they can get those bars fixed. They do so, but there comes the pressure, there comes the plays. Bonbit now sending it out, gets yet another knock up into the side here of Sem 9. It is going to be a full send from the side here of Boom as they try to kind of leapfrog their way up into the zone. Playing for a viable area. But as you can see, there is not much to work with here. Very vulnerable rotation as they start to move on up. Got to watch for that A7 positioning. Sem 9. DRS still going at it. No clear line of sights coming in on the side here of Boom Esports. Fonbit, no. Just making sure that they have decent boosts going. Should any shots come in their direction, they have a little bit of a buffer set up. DRX now going to get pressured into making some kind of a commitment here. Sem 9 patiently waiting, just setting up a bit of a trap here ahead of them. But that zone is closing on forward, and we are going to hit stage number 9 in a few seconds. Fire now trying to get a good read. Trying to figure out where the next move is going to come from. DRX now waking up as they start to move on forward. Big Papa does take quite a bit of damage, but QZZ does send out a beautiful nade now, finding Firen. And up comes that blue zone closure. Stage number 9 is going to be absolutely relentless. It will take no victims, ask no questions, just cause absolute carnage. Fire now going to be the next one to fall. U-High falls with their team, and down they go. The final 3 squads now left to fight it out for that winner chicken dinner. Alpha 7 now deciding to move up here as they start sending out the utilities, trying to reach across the way, trying to blaze a path for them to move on forward. DRX, the only squad still left with a full 4-piece. A little bit late to the party, but they've been able to secure themselves 4 eliminations. A quick, sneaky, cheeky flashbang coming in here. Does upset a few things on the side here of Boom, but not sufficiently so for Alpha 7 or Boom to get the, rather DRX to get the jump in on them. Alpha 7, they are relentless though. 12 eliminations up already, and they are not going to stop with that. They lock in their 13th elim. Quick opportunity over the ridge, and that is the end of Boom. Down to the final 2 we go. It is a 3v4 showdown to see who will be the one to clutch it out. 7 eliminations now for the side here of DRX. Alpha 7 coming through on 13, but they are absolutely battered and bruised as DRX sneak on their way up into the zone, getting their hands on that winner chicken dinner, waiting till the very last moment to swing into action. What an absolutely phenomenal comeback that has been from the side of them. Insane performance. DRX coming in clutch, getting that glorious winner chicken dinner. And I guess it pays off to just wait a little while. Of course, a very similar approach to what we saw A1 doing all the way back in our first Erangale. But so far, this has been an insane final Miramar.
It has been, and oh my god, DRX with that chicken dinner. It is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the match number 5, meaning only one more step to go, one more step left for the teams to be into the top 9. Whether they will, whether they will not, it's only going to be determined by this singular match, the single game that we will witness in a short while. But so far, talking about the winners of this match at the very least, DRX. Moving on, it is the MVP Revo from Alpha 7. 5 elimination, but double the damage of its elimination with 25 minutes of survival time. This guy is going on insane. He has been insane in this match. 5 eliminations with 1,000 damage, double the damage, 2 times. Somewhere in this between, he got his maybe eliminations stolen as well. So whatever he's doing good. He's doing good. Going into the match ranking, it is 19 total points for DRX. 19 points, Alpha 7, even though they were on the hashtag number 2. Still, with the 13 elimination that they managed to secure himself, they got 19 total points as well. Sem9 with 10 alongside of Champions, Boom Esports with 6, 6 for the Wine Donkeys, A1 with 4 alongside of Celcom Digi Alliance, 3 for Arena, Talent 2 alongside of ASI 8, 4th Rides 1 alongside of Nexori, but D Xavier and Keynote Rope, the 2 teams with the donuts.
Yep, someone's got to take a stop at the bakery, but hey, what a performance Alpha 7 brought to the battlefield. But you also got to commend Boom and DRX. I don't quite sure what the initial plan was, because both of them kept it quiet all the way to stage 7 before they decided to do something. Then they woke up with a vengeance, came in swinging. And of course, well, look at where they ended up. DRX climbing 6 slots. Alpha 7 climbing 7 slots up into 3rd and 7th place, respectively.
I mean, that is for sure. We are definitely seeing these names doing a very great gameplay and everything for themselves. But aside from that, talking about all of these effects and figurines, it is still Wine Donkeys climbing up from the 2nd chart to this chart number 1. 27 is the lowest end point for the page number 1 to actually commence and take those fights. But going into the page number 2, it is Nexori, 26 for the Talent, 24 for the D Xaviers, Celcom Digi Alliance. Still nothing, even though they did manage to secure some decent number of eliminations. The amount of placement that they have for themselves there, they have lost yet another placement position for themselves. So whatever they're doing, they have to step up the notch, because this thing is not working for them. But today's matches, 5 matches done and dusted: Sem9, A1, Nexori, ASI8, and DRX.
Well, pretty crazy showing that we've seen so far. But of course, as we saw in the overall rankings, it's all going to boil down to the very last match here. 3 teams really close to regaining a bit of that territory, to bouncing back into the top 9. But it's all going to come down to who wants it the most.
Well, we do have to see who's going to be the one to take the points, the most point in this at least final match of the day of the survival, the final chance for the teams. After that, we will have our top 9 contenders who will be moving forward, who will be going into the grand finals. But yes, before any of that sort of action happens, we do have to take a very short break, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go anywhere. Stay here with us till the very end until we announce our top 9s, and we will see you after this small highlight break before going into the very final one.
we go, getting ready to hop straight into the action. Of course, it is the final match right here in the last chance for the Asia Showdown Season 3 to see which 9 teams will be making it into the grand finals. Of course, now we are going to be moving down with our flight path, starting up in Stolba, heading down to the Sosnovka military base. But it is going to be a very hairy fight indeed. Only a few teams will make it through, and we've got a few strong contenders that could be knocking on the door. That is going to be Nexary, Talon, as well as D Xavier, that need 3 points at the very most. 4 points if you want to be a little bit more precise to make it all the way up into that top 9. But Boyne Donkey, as well as A1, DRX, and Champion Esports, they are going to look to defend that gateway. They will not look to allow any other teams to catch them and potentially even surpass them with regards to those points. So the pressure is going to be on. The pressure is going to be high. Who will be the ones to get it? Well, we don't know. That's what we are here to find out. So, of course, now it is going to be a pretty tough play. We are waiting to see where that zone is going to be taking us. And it takes us yet again over to that western beautifully onto Pachinki and the surrounding area. So curious to see exactly how the teams are going to look to get themselves situated and where they're going to look to rotate towards. Of course, we are going to be starting it off right here with Carrillo. So Alpha 7 find themselves up in towards the prison area. Also slightly up in towards Lapovka, but we did see A1 sharing that drop with them. So there could be a little bit of that early game fighting breaking up between the two. So for now, we wait and see. Oh, there we go. Luck is on the side there of Nexary as the pistol, or the rifle, or rather the revolver, comes in clutch. It is going to allow a little bit of an opener then to be brought onto the battleground here. Let's see who will be the one to get it. Carrillo now looking pretty unfazed. Nothing really going on. As you can see, Alpha 7 going about their business. So they're going to try and lock it down, right? They are well within the top 9. Currently sat in 3rd place, so they are not necessarily in need of points. But it's going to be up to the rest of the lobby to see what they can do here, of course. E-Arena going to be suffering a bit of a knock here. Fortunately for them, it has not been converted into one of their players getting taken down. But Tony K is right there and looking to get their teammates back into the fight.
That's absolutely true. So far, it is E-Arena's one player that has been taken down, but so is Champions Esports. The ball jump, he has been completely finished off. He has been annihilated from this match, so only 3 more players are remaining. That is Atomic, that is Keno, there is ERK4ST at that point, and one of them, in fact, in all of this scenario, has a horse. He has a horse. He's going from one direction to another and kind of closing in to a different team. DRX is close to this area, and coming here all alone means only 2 things. Either you want to take those aggression against that team, or if they see you, then you're not going to be able to survive. And on top of that horse, you're on the horse, you're instantly completely open for all the direction of the fire that can actually occur at you.
Yeah, it is going to be a very hot and sweaty play to try and kind of keep that momentum going. A horse is to some extent a nice little bit of a stealth animal to use, or stealth transport method to try and capitalize upon, as the players, the opposing teams don't necessarily hear you coming. But for now, it is going to be Rozok. We will be focusing. We do see a little bit of movement coming through there from Sem9, just down towards that southern side. Of course, Nexary also going to be holding over on towards that western front. So the pressure is there. Nexary being one of those teams that need to really up their performance in this game. So they are going to play one of 2 strategies. Either they're going to try and take it nice and quiet, which doesn't seem to be the case because they just lost another player, or they need to get aggressive and just go out and start hunting, right? Realistically speaking, though, I think they might opt to take a little bit more of a passive approach here. I mean, they do have Apex still up, so Apex could definitely cause a few problems along the way, but we don't quite know if that is going to work out for them.
I mean, this is the question how it's gonna work out for them, because this is the final game, and I just love the fact that everyone knows the intensity of this final game. They're instantly like, okay, we have to be very careful on how we're gonna play this match. We can't be over aggressive on at any point in time. Top 9, it is 50 to 27 points, but going into the top 10, it is Nexori 26 for the Talons as well. DX has 24, and Selcom Digi Alliance has also 17 points. It's just a matter of factor of that singular chicken dinner, WWCD, that will determine one of these players going up on the leaderboard, maybe more than that, and some of them going down from the top 9 all the way to the second chart, where they will not be going into the grand final. But here we go, Champions Esports versus DRX. It has finally occurred. It has finally started as DRX taken one player, Kino down. Atomic is the final hope of the team, getting a damage on the players. Big Papa getting knocked out. This is the opportunity. Atomic confirmed that knockout somehow, confirmed that elimination, but he's more focused on the rest of the players getting those damages. He can't get that elimination upon the player, so he's just going to get into the buggy and just going to get out of there as soon as possible.
Well, I think it is safe to say that Nexri might not make it into the top 9. We'll find out soon. Of course, it is quite dependent on what Voin Donkey and Talon are going to be doing for the remainder of this match. Champion, though, currently holding on to 7th place, starting the match off with 33 points. They only have one player left. Alpha 7 get eliminated as they go out in, well, 13th position. For Alpha 7, not necessarily too much of a concern. They came in with 42 points, so they are somewhat safe. I don't see any of the other teams making up more than that and shifting them out of that top 9. DRX, though, they've worked hard to gain those 3 eliminations. They can't falter on it right now. It's going to be Big Mama to go on down. Champion Esports will not be making it past that 12th place. Out they go. They're going to have to hope and pray that they will stay in that top 9. So you can see a few of the contending teams hot on their heels. Voin Donkey as well as Talon and D Xavier. This is now their opportunity to get that position, to get themselves in to the top 9. And see whether or not that is going to be on the board here for Talon, as they do find a bit of an opportunity up ahead. It is going to be Boom, and it is a solo now left on the side here of Boom, and so that could be the play to make.
Oh my god. Boom is going towards their doom with this final player alive. The situation has completely overturned. Boom Esports, they were on the number 5. If they get eliminated here, they're only going to have 38 points, staying on the top 5. Maybe someone will take them down from the top 5 if they are lucky or not. But Champions with 33 points, the situation is not looking good for them. But Talon, if they win this fight out, if they get this elimination on Boom's player, they will instantly be joining into the top 9 rankings. Oh my god, this singular game is gonna be determining. And there we go, with the 2 eliminations to their name, they have finally made their way into the leaderboard with 27-28 points. But still, Voin Donkeys are alive. They also have 27 points. Single wrong move will determine whether you're still going to be going into the grand finals or not. That's the 3rd elimination that they're going to have. Another team out of the proximity. Boom Esports out of the match. A1 Esports versus Selcom Digi Alliance. And Selcom, this is their doom as well. This is their demise right here on the hashtag number 10 with 2 eliminations. Alpha, in fact, A1 manages to secure those decent number of points for themselves. But now, A1, the position that they are in all of this scenario, we have to see if they're also going to be able to like get into that top 9. It's just the fight for the top 9 at this point. For all the bottom line teams, 24 points, 27 points. They have the chance. They have the chance. It's just 29 points you have to secure to get into that sweet spot off that ninth spot, in fact, of that first chart, to make your way into the grand finals.
Well, we'll find out soon who possesses the necessary power. Talon currently just riding on that ridge, as we can see them holding comfortably, sitting there on 29 points total, at least for the time being. And we're about to enter placement point territory as well. So, Kinotrope, curious to see what their approach will be here, sitting with 10 points on. Best thing for them would be to go out and have a bit of fun, right? They have quite a bit of control as to the outcome of this game. If they choose to step up and just go get absolutely crazy, they can take out the teams knocking on the door of that top 9. So Voin Donkey and D Xavier going to be hoping to play a good game right here. As you can see, D Xavier keeping it nice and cautious, not going to be looking to overextend too much, trying to keep themselves out of reach of the rest of the teams. Don't want to be the one to fall next. But here we go. A few shots now connecting across the valley. Nice little bit of reach. Nothing resulting in any kind of turnarounds just yet. Voin Donkey not in such a comfortable position as we saw there for D Xavier. Instead, they find themselves caught alongside the players here from E Arena that have been absolutely lighting up this lobby so far here today.
The situation is looking good. It is good. Voin Donkeys, they managed to get a knockdown, but look at the minimap. There's so many teams in this ruined area. It is E-Arena for first and foremost into the front lines. 40 points to their team. So Voin Donkeys coming around into this area, trying to secure more and more points. Voin Donkeys, they're also one of the contenders that needs those points to be into the top 9 and have one at the very least. There we go. It's a confirmation of that 1 point. Voin Donkeys jumping up on the hashtag number 10. They come up more than 2 points. It's going to be enough for them to come into the top 9 as well. So with the top 9 placements that we have for all of these teams, there's still going to be one more team without even a single placement point for their self if they get eliminated from this point onward. Potato coming back, going back to the corner of this safe zone, and I think he's going to try to rotate from a different direction, maybe hard north on the other side of the bridge, going straight to the Rozhok, coming from the water town back to this area. But Voin Donkeys, the rest of the players, they have just decided to push in into the location, the Everest Ridge, the very bottom line, the 2 compounds, the 2 areas that there is. Be very careful of this like surrounding, because at any point in time, even right now, there can be a third party. There can be a team that can come just walking into the area, take the fights if they heard the shots, because everyone wants to secure those points. Voin Donkey is on the verge of getting that top 9. E-Arena is already into the top 4. Even if they get eliminated here, it's not going to affect them. They're still going to be into the top 9 no matter.
So the pressure is definitely starting now to become quite palpable here, as you can see. Voin Donkey trying everything in their arsenal to secure those points. But unfortunately for them, E-Arena is situated a little bit further down the hill, so they don't have a clear line of sight on them just yet. Gagor is going to be trying to reach up the hill. You can see the hedge just poking out between the rocks. But you got to watch out for the rest of the squad that is much, much closer. So where are they going to be going? Now the angles are just lining up here. Players starting to try and reposition. It is going to be Voin Donkey again riding the ridge, hoping for a bit of an angle. Got to watch out for E-Arena as they do take their steady angle here, waiting for Voin Donkey to step into a trap. But it does seem like Voin Donkey know a little bit better. They're just going to hang on the ridge line, keeping themselves a little bit more mysterious, keeping E-Arena on their toes. Then we have Talon now also swinging into action as they do lock in even more plays, adding to their overall tally. Now it is going to be A1, the next team to get shipped out of here. They will be ending in 9th place. They were able to find 4 eliminations, so that does put them up on 33 points, which is currently enough for 7th place. But as we now have 8 teams left, this is where placement points come into play. So here we go. A very steady approach now. Ooh, Xavier starting to wake on up. As I said before, they need the points if they are to contest for the top 9. Currently, they still need quite a few more to go. Currently sitting on 26 points. They need at least 31 to catch up to where Talon is. So that means 5 more eliminations is what is required from them. They could find a few easy ones right here. Unitrope Mark not getting hit. Up comes the push. It is going to be Osan up on the ridge. Beautiful shots. There we go. But Xavier quickly having to try and patch themselves up. Right here on the edge of Pubg. Fortunately, no other team in the vicinity, so they don't have to stress all too much. They can prioritize bouncing back. For the time being, though, it is going to be Talon. Also, yeah, trying to just establish their overall score. Focusing up in ruins. Got several teams around them. So need to be very, very cautious. One mistake could cost them that top 9 slot. All right, here we have Axel. Scanning. Hop into the north. Ooh, there we go. 7-9. Starting to move on up. Of course, they've been overtaken again here by ASI8. So both sides now trying to play for the most available points. Axel and the rest of Talon try and just kind of ride it on the ridge. Again, not looking to overextend, not looking to overreach. Just trying to make it up into that late stage. Ooh, they do find Xavier. So quick knock and confirmation following through there. Xavier down to a 3-piece. Arena also holding on to 3, but they don't have to stress about the top 9. They are quite sorted now. Going to be 7-9, sending it into this eastern edge. Sending out the scout, as we know, Yumiko. Absolutely devastating. Of course, you can see the rotations are coming through there from Xavier. They're starting to climb up, trying to get out of harm's way. But it's not Talon. Just absolutely knocking away at them. They want to secure those eliminations already. 32 points now for the side there of Talon. Donkey sitting on 29. Xavier on 28. Ooh, yet another player is going to drop on the side here of Xavier down to a 2-piece. 7-9. An absolute menace at this point. There's no need for points, but hey, they're going to try and have a bit of fun here. Out comes the grenades. The utility flying in. Oh, it is absolute devastation now for Xavier. Nade, the last one left to defend the honor. Will they be able to clutch it out? They still need so many points. And it's all going to rely quite heavily on whether or not Talon and Donkey will survive. Nate T now going to try and get the res in. Bring them back onto a 2-piece, but the shots are starting to connect into the side of the vehicle. Got to get out of grenade range here as Sem9 are going to absolutely look to obliterate Xavier at this point. Talon providing a nice little bit of a distraction here. This could be that opening opportunity now for Xavier to come through and maybe blast their way in. Beautiful distraction as they hop in the vehicles and now look to get themselves mobilized. ASI8 also up on the hillside, but look at the sprays coming through from Trays. Drexy just locking in, popping in shot after shot, but fortunately it does seem like Xavier are able to escape. Oh, no, I spoke too soon. Out they go. The vehicle's going up in flames, and that is the end of the road for them. They'll be locked into that 11th place. Potentially adding a few more placement points on top of that. We're not quite sure if that will be sufficient. Donkey also going to look to try and capitalize on the same available opportunity here. Talon doing pretty good. Coming up to 33 points now. Donkey, they're going to have to find a strategy. They're going to have to find an approach to take. If they rotate up into the side of Talon, they better hope that they can take them down. If they don't, they are only feeding the side here of Talon. helping them get into that top 9. Now it's going to be Arena up on the roof, trying to get a little bit cheeky. Oh, Talon now getting met here by Joker, but they do find Joker in the trade-off. Tony K and NC2 coming in with a little bit of a late supportive rotation here. Are they going to help bring Talon down to their knees? Or will they get jumped themselves? It is a 2v3. Few knocks now working out in their favor. Oh, 2 players down already for the side of Talon. It's going to be up to Axel. The send is there. Will we see the finish? Talon so close. Will they survive it though? Oh, the answer is no. It is going to be E-Arena to clutch it out. Voin Donkey also stepping up to the plate. Rotating on forward, 5 eliminations to their name. Are they going to be able to go for gold? Or will they get their hands on that top 9 seat? Of course, now it is going to be placement points that start to increase. DRX, the next team down. So it is ASI 8 who don't need points. SEM 9 don't need points. E-Arena don't need points. The only team here is going to be Voin Donkey. It needs to try and secure themselves a good, strong finish into this game. But here we go. SEM 9 holding on with a solo. Let's see if Yuhai can clutch it out. Just evading the rush coming through here. Quick, swift play. And it's going to be ASI 8 now. Losing one of their players. Yuhai trying to survive, but unfortunately cannot. Down they go. It's going to be Voin Donkey, one of the top 3 squads now left to fight it out for that winner with a chicken dinner. E-Arena is down. Voin Donkey is in the top 2. One player trying to rescue the entire squad. If they pull this off, this could be a beautiful comeback for them. As you can see, 2 knock players are getting backed into the vehicle. You need to get into zone and get those reses going. One player goes down. And Voin Donkey narrowly escapes the blue zone damage. And it is now a solo versus the duo coming through from ASI 8. Will we see Gaekor be able to clutch this one out? So close. Just riding on the edge.
Oh. There's so much on the edge right now, and one wrong move. It's a 1 versus 2. It's potentially a bit of a chicken dinner for the ASI 8 at this point, as Iron comes into the close area. Gaekor, the one and only hope for the team. He has 7 eliminations, 11 for ASI 8. ASI 8, with this, they have successfully entered into the very grand finals of this particular area, like this round of the Asia Showdown. And there we go! Iron, from a different angle, gets the final nail in the coffin. It is ASI 8 with the winner chicken dinner of the very final game of the survival, of the last chance survival of the Lidom Asia Showdown season number 3. Oh, what a match it was. 6 matches concluded, and the last one goes to ASI 8. If I'm remembering correctly, even yesterday's performances, when there was a playoff going on, ASI took the last match chicken dinner. And once again, they have done exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, they're just showing that they can step up exactly when they need to and come in clutch. But what a clutch up that was coming through then from the side of ASI 8. Yesterday, they finished with 12 eliminations alongside their winner chicken dinner. Today, they went a little bit overboard, right? They didn't need to get a winner chicken dinner. They just needed to finish the match with good positioning. And, well, I guess the chicken is probably the best finish you can get. But the big question is, has Voin Donkey done enough to ensure their position in the top 9? They came in second place, and we'll find out soon. But here we have it. The mean machine, which is called ASI 8 Esports, coming in with their second winner chicken dinner in just the past 2 days. Of course, only 1 chicken counts for today, but here we have it nonetheless. And of course, I think for today, they have had our chicken already. This is number 2.
Did they? I think from what I remember, wasn't it in the number 2 in the match number 1 that they came in, not the chicken dinner? They were so close, and suddenly they were not so close as well. But Crypto, it is 4 elimination, 582 damage. He's the MVP of the match. 20 minutes of survival time. Meaning this last match even ended kind of early on, just like yesterday's final match as well. Whereas this time, ASI8 got the chicken dinner with 11 eliminations. So with this, 21 points are into the play for these guys. Getting into the top 9, that's an easy task. But as you already said, the rest of the teams, which one of those teams are going to have that top 9 placements for themselves as well? That's one question that we will see as we will get to know our overall ranking. But I think for now, next slide will be of the match ranking on how many points every single team accumulated and how many points they actually managed to squeeze out of this one.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, ASI8 got the winner chicken dinner in game 4. So just 2 matches ago as well. So they've definitely been bringing quite a bit onto the battlefield here. Again, they step up with 12 eliminations alongside that chicken, putting them on a very comfortable 22 points. But as we said, the big question is going to be, has Voin Donkey done enough to ensure that they stay in the top 9? Coming into the match, they were sitting on 27 points, 1 ahead of Nexury and Talon. But as we saw, there was a little bit of heat coming into this past game here. So as we saw, see there, Nexury got 1 point. Talon picked up 8. So if my math is mathing properly, which I don't necessarily rely on, there is a chance, right? Of course, we'll wait until it's official. So let's see it on the screen.
Oh my God. Yeah, we do have to see it, but here we go. Overall ranking, ASI jumping up on the number 1 with 69 points, M9 57. E-Arena securing their placement in the top 9 as well with 48, Alpha 742, DRX, there we go. I see Wine Donkeys as well. Boom Esports as well. Talon Esports also jumping up those spots, coming into the top 9, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not the least, A1 Esports, 33 points. So barely managing themselves into the top 9 as they're right now just lost to 1 of their placement.
I mean, they're probably sweating a little bit right now, right? But also, I think breathing a big sigh of relief, knowing that they were able to hold on to that top 9 position. But of course, to see how close it is, take a look at the second page, right? Here you see also 33 points. The difference is a winner chicken dinner. A1, because they got the chicken earlier, they take the top spot. So well done to them, just narrowly ahead of Champion Esports. You got to give it up to DXavier as well. They tried really hard in this last game to secure a few additional points. As we saw, they brought in 4, but the 4 points were not enough. They needed 5 more points.
Yeah, 5 additional points. In fact, not just 5. 5 would have got them back to the 33 marker, whereas A1 would have still taken the lead. They would have needed 6 with getting 34 points, making sure to get into the top 9. But nonetheless, hard luck it is for the DXaviers. Nexori also losing 2 of their original placement, getting down to the 12th placement point. And 27 total points, in fact, for themselves. But MVP ranking on our screen, ladies and gentlemen, Josefa, Casanova. Then we have U-High, we have Turnica, 2 of ASI8, 1 of SEM9, and 1 of E-Arena. Going into their individual eliminations, 13 for Josefa, 13 for Casanova, 14 for U-High, 16 for Turnica. It's for some reason going from low to high on the elimination chart, but the damage chart is where everything is residing. 33,027 damage for Josefa. 2378 for Casanova, 1893 for U-High, and last but not the least, it is 2170 for Turnica. These were the 6 matches